What's up, everyone? Welcome to. I keep always introing these and want to say new episode of The Goods, but I'm never. It's so out of order at this point. I was telling Jake about an Eric Koloski episode I'm editing, and I shot that in 2019.
Damn, pre-pandemic.
I know there could be a toddler born in between then.
Yeah.
But welcome to the podcast, Jake Bullock.
Thanks for having me, dude. I'm excited. We're finally doing this. We've been talking about it for a couple of years now.
Yeah, I feel like I just really shit the bed just now. I'm not giving you a proper intro.
No, that's good. It's all good. We'll get to everything. We'll get to all the accolades.
It's too much.
There's not much, but there's
there really is. Like you've won a ton
of
of contests. You're on a legendary yo-yo team. You've
got second at a lot of contests, but
you've won a lot of contests.
I've won some stuff too. Yeah.
Second still pretty fucking good. Wow, that's better than most other people I've interviewed on the podcast.
I had a short run, honestly. It was only really 2006 and 7 that I like, and a little bit of 8. But it was kind of a flash in the pan thing. I didn't really compete that much, honestly.
Yeah, it felt like
It felt like a long time, right?
Say,
but those 2 years just felt like, especially for 5A.
Negatively,
no.
You know what I mean? Like it felt so long, but it really did at the time.
It did, because it was what you and Sam were talking about, the circuit, where we had so many contests every year.
Oh, dude, right, yeah.
That it was like a season of yo-yoing. It was like you start with, I remember Maryland States was always in like March, so early. And then Massachusetts, and then, all of them, Tennessee, Virginia.
Yeah.
So we had so many contests building up to Worlds and Nationals in October and August.
2008, we went to like 8 or 9. Or
was that when you did the ramen tour?
Yeah. Or no, that was probably 2007. But like 2008, we went to.
Because if you went to the Midwest,
went to more places in 2008.
Yeah, if you went out to the Midwest, there was like 3 or 4 contests too.
And then we went to Tennessee States and whatever other contest. I feel like there was another Southern contest we went to. We stayed at Sam's house for like a week, and then Brandon's house for like 2 weeks. It was very weird.
Yeah, I wonder what that was.
And then like Randy, I feel like was it random.
Randy lived in Virginia, so yeah, he went down to stuff. Yeah, so it was just a lot more contests. So I guess time just went. Now the years just fly by. But it seems like I was saying, like, I didn't. A lot of people compete now for like 10 years or like 5 years. I don't know. Like they keep doing it, and I just sort of was in there for a little bit, but it was a good time.
I feel like it's better to give it up as soon as you stop caring as much about it, because like I did it for way too long for like the tiniest bit of incentive from Yo-Yo Factory. You know what I mean? It's not like it was ever like a make or break amount of money. It was just like a few $100s here and there, enough to justify going to a contest. But it was still like, retrospectively, it's like, God, the amount that I was putting, like time and effort I was putting into it, I could have like done something else and made way more money. Or how people now treat like the influencer yo-yoing thing. It's like, oh, you don't have to be the world or national champion to sell yo-yos, and you got to practice way more of that than you have to do Spider-Man on TikTok 3 times in a row.
Yeah, that just didn't exist. YouTube barely existed, so
barely.
Totally different.
I think about back then and like how little content we all put out, and it's like you put out like a ton at the time.
Yeah,
like
I was pretty early, dude. I was looking at my first YouTube video, and I posted it in like early 2005, and I looked up when YouTube started, and it's like so like I had probably one of the first yo-yo videos, like purely yo-yoing on YouTube. It was this Eats It video. It was basically a sponsor me video for Antio. It was just like literally called the Eats It video, and it was just me playing with an Eats It, and I sent it to Kia, and that like pretty much got me sponsored. But that's how you had to do it back. You had to win it. I won a contest too. I won my first contest, Maryland States, but so no one was. I don't know. I wish I remembered how I found YouTube, like how I figured that out. But before that, you had to like upload to like an actual website. Yeah,
because social media wasn't like it was now.
I didn't have a Facebook until after that, so I don't know like where I heard about YouTube. Yeah, but it was very different.
What were you just saying though before that?
Shit.
My bad.
No, I forget.
You sent the video to Kia.
Oh yeah. And then I started yo-yoing in 2000 at the end of 2003, and just fairly quickly, I guess. I mean, it was basically 2 years. I ended up my first contest was Worlds 2004. So like I immediately got deep enough that like I really wanted to go to contests, and I went to Worlds. My dad took me, and it was a great time, but I didn't compete or anything. I was just there. I still remember like seeing someone else yo-yoing for the first time at the Rosen, like walking in and seeing someone like throwing a sleeper. And it was very exciting for me. I'll never forget that, because I had been doing it for like not even a year yet, probably like 6 months, but I was so into it. I had never seen one. So it was just like, wow, there's like, it's real. There's other people. And then, you know, Worlds back then was such like a there was like all the workshops you could go to, you could just like see and meet everyone
when
really
you're a
easily.
Kid, that stuff is so fly. And then as soon as you're like 16, 17, you're like, this is
then you're just hanging out.
Compete and drink of Bud Light. I'm 18.
It was a very cool kid friendly environment. Like, so I did that, and then eventually, you know, like made some friends. And I remember when I think I just really wanted to be sponsored, and that's the only reason I ever competed. I never had like a competitive drive or anything like that, or like a want to get up on stage. I don't like getting up on stage in front of people.
That was really the only way to get sponsored back then.
But it was
the only players that were video players that got sponsored back then were like Mikhail. Who else?
And I saw probably what it was Brian Koski, because I got into yo-yoing because of Astro Jacks, because of Randy Shreve. So these things, which are like little balls that like can orbit themselves.
It's like 3 counterweights.
And I got into that because Randy Shreve's got these at Walmart and was like, check these things out. So I owe Randy for that. They just do this. But like you can do sort of like, some people were really sick with them.
Yeah, Brian was good if I remember.
Brian Koski was real good, and he was on the Astro Jacks forum message board, and the message board was kind of advanced because it had each user on the message board could upload a bunch of photos to their profile. So every player had like their own Flickr style gallery of photos. It was so weird. But it was usually just pictures of kids playing with Astro Jacks. But Brian had a bunch of pictures of him yo-yoing and pictures of yo-yos. And he had like a Spin Master 3, like the early yo-yo jams, and a Hitman and all this stuff. And as soon as I saw like a Spin Master, like a plastic yo-yo with metal rims, I was just like sold. I'm like, I need to figure out what this is. Like, this looks awesome. Like, they make like advanced yo-yos, because during the boom, I had a Fireball and all that stuff, but like I didn't get deep into it. So that came and went, the fad in the late 90s.
Yo-yos were shit for so long. Like yo-yos weren't really that great.
Unless you like lucked out and found like a Turbo Bumblebee or like a ball bearing yo-yo. But I never saw one of those once during the boom. Like the top of the top was the Brain. Right. So it was like you maxed out at the Brain. You can't really do tricks with that very well.
Just the general yo-yo kids, because Amazon didn't exist.
No, you had to go to a hobby shop. So I had a hobby shop in Kutztown that I went to that had yo-yos.
That's sick. Yeah, if someone meets you in public now and they want to buy a yo-yo, they can literally go on Amazon, and it's like anything that's over $12 is going to be great. Yo-yo. Just get it. And it'll be fine. But so anyway, I saw Brian Koski and I reached out to him and I was like, where do you get these? And he told me about Dave's Skill Toys and the Yo. And so I got into that, and they had their own message boards. Every store back then had a message board. Oh, yeah. So it was the yo.com, Dave's Skill Toys, and yoyoing.com. Was that your first board, Dave's Skill Toys?
Yeah, Dave's Skill Toys was my first, but I very quickly went like you to the Yo, because I don't know what drew me to the Yo.
The Yo was like a shit store. Yeah. Like, it was like a little more rambunctious.
It was, and that's where Nivik, Kevin Sullivan, Field Medic was on there, and that's how I met him. And like there were a lot more character. Atomic Cow was really active on there.
That's why
Higby was active on there. So, well, Higby was more active on Dave's Skill Toys, but
every board had like it was like clicked up, but it had its own vibes. Like the Dave Skill Toys board was like very collector-y, and like no one really good was posting there. Like the yoyoing.com board, that was like the big
where
league.
The pros,
that was the ultimate.
Yeah, but that one was weird to me because it was almost like Reddit style.
The interface was really hard to follow when you're
and I liked having the off-topic section where you could just talk about music and then like the
organized,
different
the yoyoing.com board was intimidating. It's just all a long ass list.
So my name was Ray of Evil on there because that was my RuneScape name, and I pretty quickly like got integrated there, and I eventually was a mod at the Yo actually. Like yeah, dude.
That's so funny. How old were you when they made you a mod? Like 13?
13, yeah. So 14 maybe.
Which is funny because
I'm moderating,
the guy who owned the Yo mic was probably like in his 50s or 60s.
Yeah.
I never met him, but like he died not too long after. It died like 2009, 10, something like that. Right.
Yeah, he lived. I remember he lived in Hawaii, and like he was just this Hawaiian guy who owned a yo-yo store.
And like somehow his shipping would be the fastest in the whole fucking world.
Yeah,
somehow.
Yeah. How did he do that?
I don't know. To this day, I have no idea.
He must have had some place in the Continental where it was shipping out of. Like,
maybe, but I swear the label said they came from Hawaii. I don't know.
I think you're right, but. Anyway, so I got my first yo-yo, this exact yo-yo, a Throw Monkey on Dave's Skill Toys, and the same color and everything, black and yellow, Wu-Tang, and it came with this fucking CD, which is the best. Yeah, these mini CDs are so, like, talk about a great introduction to yo-yoing. It had Spencer Berry, Jack Rinka,
Kodo Watanabe,
like all the guys who. Duncan was top of the top when I started in 2003-4. Like they had the best team. Steve Brown was the coolest. The Freehand 1 had just sort of like ended, and the Freehand 2 had just come out, and the Throw Monkey and the Flying Panda. So like these CDs came out, and you had to put them in your computer, like they're mini CD-ROMs, like DVDs basically. But you watched it. They had like punk rock music, like Hot Water Music, this label.
It was so antithesis of yo-yoing because like especially 2004 is when Mickey won for the first time. 2003 Johnny won, so it's like it was like the Nike of yo-yoing where it's like we're the best, and like we're clean cut and we're going perfect in freestyles. We're going to use pop music and we're like in your face, and yo-yoing like was inherently modest, but like when anyone is like putting their nuts up and being like I'm good at this and like I want to be good, it like intimidates the whole rest of the yo-yo world. So Yo-Yo Jam was very much that attitude. And like you said, when you're like a disenfranchised youth and you're like, what yo-yo team is the one for me? Which one do I feel like I'm connected to? Like Duncan was kind of like that at the time.
Duncan was very punk rock and very cool. And I don't know, they were just a great way to learn. Those little mini CDs were just awesome. I watched it so much. Are we filming?
Yeah, it just keeps cooling down.
Oh, word.
We're good. Yeah, someone recently ripped those videos onto YouTube and I watched them again. Yeah.
Oh, thank God. We gotta watch those then.
Good, yeah. We should film a reaction to them. Yeah. I have like a couple tricks from those videos that are like influenced, like nowadays. Tricks are influenced by because I just watched them so much.
I'm down. Like, we'll do that at the end.
Yeah. It's very good though. They're good videos, like you said. And I'm sure Mark McBride made all of them. And like when you know all these guys later in life, there's so many funny things that happen in the video that you just know like definitely was.
I'm sure they had a blast filming.
Right, yeah.
Like they looked like they're having fun. And Spencer's playing off string. Spencer Berry is like throwing a Flying Panda.
AAA. He's doing all sorts of weird shit.
They're just messing around and like getting paid by the biggest yo-yo company in the world. And like it just seemed so cool because everyone knew what Duncan was, including myself. But then when I just like got this random CD, I couldn't believe how like this guy with tattoos is doing styles I'd never seen before, 5A and 4A. And like, it really was, I owe everything to like that because it hooked me immediately. Like, It was perfect.
It's so huge in a time when YouTube and Instagram, because now you can just go on anyone's profile and you see all that shit instantly, or you just type in yo-yo and you see all of it. But like, yeah, back then it was impossible.
I had to order the yo-yo, get it, open it, and take the CD out and put it in my computer to like get that content.
I recently found a bunch of my old yo-yo DVDs, like the Save Death DVDs. And
I have a couple over there.
The what the fuck was it called? Like Duncan did a Viking tour one year, and
I have the Viking tour one and the Philippine Nationals for some reason.
I think they maybe gave those away at contests. Yeah, that's why we both have
the Viking tour was a good one though. Yeah, that's really cool. They went over to Europe and just like yo-yoed for.
And like you said,
they yo-yoed in like bars. Like
they're getting paid by the biggest yo-yo company in the world at the time to do this, but it's like
this very like low budgety punk rock.
It wasn't like they're going like obvious. It's not cheap to go to Europe costs money, and shit. But like no one would show up. You remember? Like no gigs, there'd be no one there. Yeah. It's like, where is this money going? Like
it's going to making freehand MGs. Basically, they're making magnesium yo-yos at the same time, and Steve's designing all these cool, freehands, and like I don't know. It was such a cool thing. Yeah. So I got into that, and thanks to Brian Koski. So I think that's the reason I wanted to be sponsored a year or so later, is because I saw Brian Koski and Kevin Sullivan, my buddies, getting on Antio, which was this new company that just popped out of nowhere that made aluminum yo-yos, which was like not common at all, which is hard to believe now. But the only aluminum yo-yos that existed were Diffio and H-Spin. Like that's pretty much it. And like the Silver Bullet and stuff, but like
there was random one-offs. Like, remember that custom yo-yo company?
Yeah, I forgot all about them.
They were made in the same town in Phoenix that Yo-Yo Factory was made in. So I would go to like the laser engraver or anodizer sometimes, and the custom yo-yos would be like packed up, ready for someone to be picked up. No, just like they were doing a run and like, oh, they got some gold ones made, and it's like
those were so bad.
Yeah, like and they were exactly the same as the yo-yos they made in like 98, 99, and like I know they come here and see my yo-yos in there that are like all these crazy colors and like
they must have a market. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably left over from the boom, like random RC car hobby shops that because they are nice looking yo-yos and they come on nice little milled aluminum stands and
that's stuff. Right. But you can like put them on your desk.
Yeah, that's really what it is. I did a bank gig for this fucking bank, not a bank gig, but a holiday gig for a bank in December, and like the amount of old dudes like just yo-yoing at the end of the night was so funny, and I'm like, man, there's such a market for a desktop yo-yo.
Yeah. And you can make it as expensive as you want.
Yeah. Anyway, so Brian got you into yo-yoing and you wanted to get on Antio.
Yeah, and pretty much.
It's crazy. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
Pretty much that's the reason I wanted to compete. And I remember the night before Maryland States that it was such a big contest for me, Maryland 2006, because it was the first time I met Drew Tates. No, it wasn't. I met him at Worlds 05, but Drew Tates was going to be there because he lived in Silver Spring, Maryland. And we were talking on AIM all night, like the night before, because we were both going to compete for the first time. That's what it was. He was doing AAA. I was doing 4A and 5A because it was Y division. So you could do all the styles if you wanted to. And we were both so nervous, and we were just like pumping each other up though the night before, like, it's going to be fine. We're going to do this. You're going to kick ass. So are you, dude. And it was like very encouraging. And then, I went there the next day and ended up winning Y division, my first contest. I did not expect it, but
Drew was probably so hyped. I couldn't imagine how stoked he was.
And AJ was a judge, AJ Kirk and Tim Redmond and Tresley. Yeah. So like these guys I looked up to, AJ for sure, because Steve got me into 5A, but AJ made me realize like a local guy could be so sick because of his Worlds 05. Right, I think he got second or third.
I think he got like fourth or fifth, but like they announced like top 10 back in the day. Yeah, so they said
he got like fifth, but it was the first time an American had like done that.
I think he was the highest placing American that
year. He was,
maybe, yeah. And then he got on Yo-Yo Jam afterwards.
Right, immediately.
And that was like when getting on a team was super hype. Like, it was such a big secret he got on Yo-Yo Jam afterwards. I remember, like, because I was going to Yo-Yo Club with him, and it's like, oh, he's on a team, but we can't say which one.
Yeah,
like,
that added to it too. The like mystique. I just wanted to get, because Duncan had the button down shirts, and they would like make a big thing of like handing you the shirt. I remember Seth at 05 Worlds got on Duncan
at
too.
Worlds, yeah.
At Worlds, like he came off stage and Steve was like, "Here's the shirt, dude. You're on," which is like so cool. So I just wanted a shirt and like to be a shirt. I love basically
your face after you realize like, God, I did all that for a fucking shirt.
I got the shirt somewhere. I should be wearing it.
That's ill. But like you want belonging and community when you're a kid. It's no different than being on the forum, but it's more official, and like all these cool people that reciprocate that feeling of how cool you feel, and like it's awesome. Like it's really cool.
It's the same today. People still you always want to be sponsored if you're into something.
Yeah, I mean, it just was a lot more exclusive and meant something more.
It really did.
Or like you needed to be someone and do something.
You couldn't just DM someone on Instagram and be like, "Yeah, you're on." Like, I'll send you some yo-yos.
It's a weird expectation now, where like if someone just plays with your yo-yo and tags you like a handful of times, they just expect like that's enough. Like, are you gonna sponsor me, or am I gonna get something for free? Or it's like, no, what are you? You're gonna quit eventually. Like, it's just hysterical. Like the little amount of effort people want to put in. And during my interview with Eric, he talks about like he played with Omega yo-yos for like 2 years before he got on Team Omega, and then it's like he was someone in the yo-yo world, and then it's like, oh, Omega was get on Yo-Yo Jam, and like I forgot he was on Omega first. Yeah, he was on Omega before Yo-Yo Jam. They had cool shirts too. Yeah. Omega had cool shirts. Dude, that's another thing. No teams have any cool like uniforms or out. Nothing. It all like just a t-shirt, black t-shirt with a little logo right here. That's all this. Yeah, the simpler the better. Like it's so funny because like I try to make so much yo-yo clothing, but like nobody on the team ever wants to wear different shit. Everyone just wants the most basic bare bones stuff. But they'll be the first people to be like, oh, you should make this, do this colorway, do a olive green one. Dude. Yeah. They'll never wear it. Like, not just people on the team, everyone, you know what I mean? People in yo-yoing like that are, you know, they have the loudest voices, but like never really vote with their dollar. Right. People who never say shit will spend the most money with you. Yeah, definitely. The people who DM you over and over again don't want to buy anything. But so how did that go? Like you getting on Antio, because you weren't on Antio at Maryland State. No, but I used and eats it for 5A like a psycho. Like no one was using aluminum yo-yos. You won open, right? Yeah, I won Y division. Won Y. Open. Yeah, I did half 5A in my freestyle, and then I put the yo-yo down and did off string for the rest of it. I forgot about that. I thought you just said. I remember you doing that and being like, you can do that? Yeah. And everyone was like, what do you mean? You're allowed to do whatever you want up there. Which nowadays you'd probably get deducts for putting the yo-yo down and switch it or whatever. Yeah. Like all that shit. Well, no, not I remember asking all these questions, not after your specific freestyle, but later, and like. And then when they would still have Y divisions, I would just like make kids, because kids would take it to their show. You can do anything. You could juggle. You could do like, you can literally do whatever the fuck you want. Yeah. But like it adheres to the yo-yo rules. So like, I don't know. Anyway, but that is really interesting though. I forgot people used to do that switch. In Y division. Yeah, different styles. I just had some trick. I didn't have 3 minutes of tricks in either one, so I had 3 minutes together. So I did both. That's so funny. And I couldn't believe I won. It was ridiculous. I came out of nowhere. It was a complete underdog type thing. You went pretty clean though, retrospectively. I went very clean. Like you probably went 95, 98%. That's all I was ever good at was going clean. So I was not a performer. I was not whatever. I could make up some tricks and I could hit them on stage, but I would be staring down at my hands. Like that's just how I did it. But do you remember anything else about that Maryland States? Like it's funny when you're a kid and you like shit seems so much bigger than it actually is. But I remember like Maryland States 2009, which is only 3 years later. But I was like 17. I was actually like have like a cognizant I judged memory. That year. That's hilarious. Yeah, but like it was. Like it just wasn't as impressive as when you were a kid. Like when I was a kid, that shit seemed like the Coliseum, you know? Yeah, what I mean? It's just an elementary school gym. That's what it was in. Like it was even a cafeteria that doubled as a gym / auditorium because it had a stage in it. I probably met people. I just remember hanging with Drew, but I probably met like maybe Kai that year. Kai maybe was not there. No. If he was, I don't remember meeting him. I don't know if I met you. Possibly. I don't think we met at the contest. I definitely messaged you afterwards, though. Yeah.
AJ, I met AJ officially.
There. Tom Yulo was there.
Yeah, Tom rules.
I remember what's his face, Tim Redmond selling all of his mods. Did Tim break a world sleeper record?
Yeah, Tim did a sleeper record that year. He was obsessed with that.
Oh, poor guy. And then like as soon as Yo-Yo Factory made that yo-yo, they just like shit all over. Not like it purposely, but you know what I mean? It's like
it's hard. It was all yo-yo based.
Yeah, like, they super engineered a yo-yo for someone else to break the record.
Like, and that was interesting when that was like a bigger deal. And Rick Wyatt, Sir Rick, was like the guy.
They used to do it at every contest. It used to be like an option to try to break world records. They used to be a thing. Like I remember planning my first contest and being like, all right, so after lunch, we got to do half an hour where people want to break world records again. And it's like no one ever wants to do it.
Yeah.
Sometimes occasionally one person randomly would want to, but it would never be like anything or anyone of note. It would just be something totally random. Like, oh, I want to do off string. Like mine was off string whips. I broke that record like 3 or 4 times. And then like Jimmy Peng did it right after me and broke it like by like 50 or 60
off-string whips. Yeah, I remember you breaking that record or doing it. Yeah.
But like it would just be the most random shit. It's like people who wouldn't be able to like do well in the regular contest, you know what I mean? So they had something.
Yeah. The sleeper was funny though. If people haven't seen it, you throw it and then you hold it up and you have to twist the string with your fingers just the littlest bit to keep it centered. And they would sit like backwards on a chair and just like sit there for like 20 minutes just twisting the string. It was kind of interesting to watch, but yeah, no one does that anymore.
Yeah, Rick would have those yo-yos that like would have all the like math written on the cap where it's like rim is 2.8% more inertia weighted than the butt, whatever. The junk science. I mean, it was real science, but like it was just all very specific shit that like wouldn't matter because you're not Rick Wyatt throwing the yo-yo.
Right.
Like, and Rick would tell us the stories of like, yeah, I would like, because every bearing, like once you start having like a feel for how yo-yos sleep and stuff, like you can feel like the races of the bearing, like the curvature of the where the balls like roll in the cage, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like different races have different feels. And if it's a bad race, you can play with it still, but like for the sleeping record, it's not nearly as good of a bearing to use. So you got to find like just the right bearing. And like it's only good for a handful of throws before it like gets shot. It was just wild shit. But
so then the contest I went to after that to compete would have been MAR 2006, which was a fun one. That was when it was at the Tiki Bar.
Yeah.
You remember that?
I feel like No, you're right. That was 2006.
It was.
Yeah,
I remember that one distinctly because that's when I met John Robb and you, for sure. Like when we were hanging out then.
That was that summer. Huh.
Yep. And
is that the one that Seth came out to as well? I guess then. Yeah.
That might have been 07. I don't think Seth was there. This one was in the Tiki Bar and my CD didn't work for my freestyle music. And John took me out to his car and was like, I got this CD for you. I got this new album called by Lupe Fiasco.
Oh, yeah, use Kick Push.
And, he's like, you're going to use this song, dude. And so I just used Kick Push. It's the first time I ever heard it.
Oh, my God. This was MAR 2006.
Yep.
Wow.
And it really threw me off because it wasn't what I had practiced to. But it's a great song. I love that song to this day. But it was just funny. That's like such a classic John thing to do.
And AJ was so polished and on fire at that point. He would have won anyway.
So I got like 3rd or something, and I was pretty disappointed. You might have beat me too.
No, I did really poorly at that contest.
I don't remember what.
Pretty sure it was like an X Division or whatever, and then
it was
like AJ won, and maybe Pat Cortero got 2nd or something, and then you may have gotten 3rd.
Pull up my yo-yo wiki. I'll tell you exactly what I got.
Definitely did not beat you at that contest though, because I was like also very disappointed.
I got 7th in 1A and 3rd in Y Division.
That's sick.
So, and I used Kick Push for both because my CDs
for both.
Yeah.
Spitfire shirts and SV dunks.
So that was a fun one. It was in a bar. And then it looks like we had PA States before Worlds too.
Yeah, that would have been like the week before Worlds or whatever.
Where I got 2nd in 1A and Y Division. So I don't really remember that contest. It was my home contest. I'm sure I was pissed I didn't. I wonder who won 1A.
I forget. I remember Mikhail won one. That was the only contest he ever won was PA States. It wasn't that year. It was like 2007 or 8. He won.
Sebi maybe?
Probably Sebastian.
Yeah,
you're right.
So I guess I was PA State champ at least.
That was the first year I met Kai, though. Was that year at PA States?
Yeah. That's probably when I met him, too, then.
And that was the first contest. You remember the Buzzle and C-Note yo-yo came out there?
Oh, the C-Note. That was first meant for sleepers, right? Yeah. Yo-yo companies used to make yo-yos just for the sleeper record. The DJ was really cool. The Yo-Yo Jam DJ, the fixed axle. Yeah. It was a fixed axle with the axle was like the width. It was like the size of a paper clip. It was super thin. So this fixed axle was unresponsive and slept forever. But I had no other purpose other than just sleeping.
Yeah, people would buy them and just constantly break the axle.
Yeah, because it was like a hair
just
thin.
So skinny, yeah. What an awful idea, but also it broke a lot of fixed axle world sleeper record.
Yeah. So then I went to Worlds and out of nowhere got second place in 5A. And I remember I did pretty well in prelims, or it wasn't prelims, it was compulsories. Which were just a trick list you had to hit in front of judges. It was more nerve-wracking than a freestyle in some ways because you had to stand on this mini stage in front of like 3 guys like Spencer Berry, Jack, like people that you looked up to.
Yeah, and they
were just like, they would say a trick and you had to hit it just right. And there were 10 tricks. And it was like Eli Hop Chop and like nunchucks and stuff. And you had to do them in just such a right way. If you drop the counterweight for a second, like you're done, stuff like that. So it was hard. It's actually
so funny thinking about the rules back then, the compulsories, and like how
very specific.
Because it's so I don't know. You could even make a mistake during like a preliminary freestyle, and it's like you could make finals still.
Exactly. Yeah.
But like compulsories, you really only
had to go super clean.
Chances, yeah.
So I made it through, and everyone was super stoked, like Kia and Sunny. And they took me out to Pizza Hut down the street in Orlando. Like, this is 2 hours before finals.
Oh, God.
Finals were at night. And I was so scared. I get so nervous. I couldn't eat anything. I just remember sitting in Pizza Hut and like looking at this pizza and like breadsticks and like the smell of Pizza Hut. Like, I'll never forget that. And just being
like bready.
I was like just nauseous, dude. Yeah. I was just so nervous. Because they were all excited, like celebrating beforehand. And I'm like, I have to fucking go on stage for the third time in my life
and there was
at Worlds.
Lot of people. Like
so much more than I had only been competing for 4 months or whatever.
In front of like 50, 60 people. Like it feels like a lot of people, but not that many. And you get to Worlds and it's like, damn, there's 200
it's a whole
people,
different
300
thing.
people in the audience. Yeah.
Whole different thing. So scary. I picked my song like at dinner, that Dandy Warhol's song, because I didn't plan on making finals. So I didn't have like a freestyle.
It's such a different time, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't really have a freestyle. I had like a set of tricks, but I didn't have a freestyle or music. So I just picked my music.
Players all complain now because contests want songs like at least a week or 2 in advance. Yeah. Like, what if I want to change the night before? And it's like, what the fuck? Who's doing that? But yeah, back then people used to do it.
Yeah. And somehow went pretty clean. If I wouldn't have dropped my yo-yo, I probably would have won. I'm pretty sure I looked at the scores. But Dana Bennett beat it. Do you remember? It was really close, like within 5 points.
Damn. Yeah, you definitely would have won because
I know.
Especially back then, I'm sure you like.
Trust me, I know. I've thought about it a lot. Sorry. No, it's okay.
That was the kind of shit like when I competed in 2006, and I think Dana only beat me by like 9 or 10 or whatever, and I got 4th, and I was like, yo, if I just do X amount more tricks, like I could have won. Like next year, I'm not letting it slip by me.
Yeah, and he did.
Stupid ass kid.
Damn. But Dana kicks ass. Still one of the best freestyles ever. It's so good. So many good tricks in that freestyle.
Dude, it's classic. And like that was a time when like everyone was so uniquely different at yo-yo. Like a top 10 night, whatever. Every person who competed in 5 of that year would have been completely different than the last person.
It was what? Dana, me, AJ. So I beat AJ and then you got 4th?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like beating AJ was insane. Like just totally. I'm sure he was pretty upset because just a few months before he was judging my first freestyle ever. Yeah. And then like a couple months later, I'm beating him at Worlds, and that was supposed to be his year because the year before is when he got the highest rating American.
But he also, I think, I mean, you know, rest in peace. But like, it's also, he put a lot of faith in like his tricks being bigger than they were, you know what I mean? And like that was kind of... He
just had style.
Right.
And he had great showmanship. Yeah. But his trick, he was slow. Like he was very smooth and slow.
You did more tricks in a shorter amount of time and like scored more points. And like it was just a different time.
Dana was kind of sneaky fast too.
Yeah. And I think about his tricks scored well and like I don't know, just little shit that like when you score, I'm sure you've like found yourself doing it when you judge and you're like finding yourself in a rhythm clicking tricks or whatever. Like Dana's tricks were like that a lot, where like they would reach like a climax, then you end up clicking like 3, 4, 5, 6 times at the end of a trick because it's like, oh damn, he hit it sick.
We should click Dana in my freestyle right now. just double check. So I don't know.
Fuck you, Dana. Yeah. I saw Dana.
That thing fell off.
It's been a long time since I've seen Dana. I think like 2010 or 2011, but like he was like teaching abroad or something, just like hanging out, having fun.
I think I sent him a dunk or he bought one. I don't know.
I think he did remember. He was telling me that he bought a dunk, actually.
Yeah, I think he's in New England somewhere, but maybe. I don't know. Or he was visiting family or something.
Damn. But I should reach out to him when we do New England stuff next time.
I would love to see him, dude. And I'd love to see his tricks now. Just because I'm sure he has some. Every older player still has like some stuff they never showed anyone. It's like awesome.
Whatever they were working on last. Shot for round 2, little shot.
Where were we?
We were talking about Worlds 2006, but I want to zip back a little bit because we started to like bleed into 2007 too. I just wanted to go back to when you first got onto Antio, because that's a crazy year for a kid to go through when you're 15 years old, you know what I mean? And like you're just getting involved in something and interested for the first time, and then all of a sudden like you find all this like notoriety and success and like...
Yeah, it was cool. I got on right after I won Maryland States. So I made that video I mentioned earlier, the Eats It video on YouTube, which they really liked. But then a couple months later when I won Maryland States, that sort of sealed the deal.
Oh, yeah, that definitely solidified.
He was like, so you want to be on the team? I remember the email and I was like, yes. And they immediately sent me Babezillas. Which was really cool.
I kind of remember that. Yeah, I think it was very quick.
Just 2, because they were like about to come out. They came out right before Worlds, in the summer, I believe, and
like May or June of that year, because Eats It was February. I think.
Yeah, and that was just awesome. I don't know. It felt really good. I didn't have any real notoriety other than locally, like on the East Coast a little bit. Like you guys knew who I was and stuff, and we all knew each other obviously, but like I didn't have any like name in the yo-yo world till after Worlds when I got second. And I remember going to Nationals 2006 and like Spencer Berry being like, hey, you're Jake Bullock, like I know you, and Paul Escalar doing the same thing. That's like rad. Yeah. Knowing who I was without me having to introduce myself, just because they remembered like, oh, this kid got top 3. Like he's like the one that, because again, I sort of came out and it's not like I had placed the year before, like AJ had, like I came out of nowhere. So it was sort of memorable in that sense. I think people 100%. Were like, oh, who is this kid? Because I was very shy and quiet but I was placing very high, and I was on Antio, which was like the cool clout team, immediately because it was just the cool team, and it was full of more gregarious, outgoing guys like Brian and Kevin. And I was like very quiet and not that way, but I was hanging out with that whole crew. So by association, I was cool.
That's funny that you say that, because retrospectively, I can see why you'd say that, or I see that in your personality, but I never that never was impressed upon me. Like I always thought you were outgoing and like.
I mean, maybe when I know... We
always talked online, you know what I mean?
Right.
We'd see each other at the contest. And
I'm more outgoing online for sure. Like
everyone is,
to this day.
Like, you know what I mean? Because it's easier just to... The in-person committal's like a hard... I always struggle. Like, I don't know. I kind of dig the single serving friend thing, you know, from Fight Club, where it's just like, I hate small talk, but when it's with someone who's just like really into yo-yo and like, oh, I love what you do. I love XYZ yo-yo. Cool. It's like, oh, thank you so much. Thanks for the support. Great.
Yeah.
Like, you know exactly what the exchange is going to be. You know what I mean? Versus like a regular conversation with someone. There's like a weird give and take and like it's just not as predictable. So I don't know. But yeah, that's interesting that you said that. But I there's also in yo-yoing doing well competitively or just putting out a really good video, creating your own wave. Like there's nothing that can substitute that. Like you were on Antio or whatever, like you said, right after Maryland States, and that probably put you on some people's radar, but then really placing it at Worlds was when people were like, oh, like this kid is someone we need to look out for. Like Jake, okay, cool. I'm going to take note of him. Like,
it was pretty neat. It felt really good.
And speaking of Antio, I just want to continue to expound upon that because it's such an interesting topic a bit more. Like the other people on their team, in addition to Kevin, were Simon Welch from the UK, who like is now a professional Hearthstone commentator. I don't know what he does anymore, but as of years ago, that's what he was. After he got like screwed over by Yo-Yo Nation trying to open like Yo-Yo Nation UK and like that didn't work out. So like it was just cool to see him land on his feet that way. That's awesome. Everyone's super proud and happy for him. But then they had like that monk from Texas. Do you remember that guy? Was his name Philip or something?
Who was just a monk.
I've never seen him yo-yo to this day. Maybe they had like one clip of him online or something.
They would just do stuff like that. They'd sponsor the monk who didn't do any.
Super random,
And even Kevin, who like was not a competitor at all, but just was a cool ass guy.
Right, yeah.
So like they just had a cool ass team. And even Brian wasn't really a competitor when they sponsored him. Then he became one and ended up doing really well. And then also Paul Hahn. I forgot.
Yeah.
They had Paul Hahn on the team that they stole from Yo-Yo Factory basically. Or whatever, right? I mean,
kind of, yeah.
He sort of,
Basically, yeah.
So that year at 2006 Worlds, me and Paul both placed second in our respective divisions. And we were, so technically since 5A was the night before, I was the first. Well, no, I found out it's not true. I thought I was the first person to place top 3 at Worlds with an aluminum yo-yo, but I think Jen Baybrook used some sort of aluminum Yomega in like 99.
What?
Yeah, apparently. Someone pointed that out to me.
She's a metallic missile or something?
I think so. So I'm not.
For 1A or for what? I thought she just won 2A.
Someone got like 3rd in 1A with like a metallic missile, I'm pretty sure. Something like that.
Well, how random.
I could be wrong, but whatever. I still...
First modern.
I was, like we were...
Whatever.
We were weird to be using... We both used Bapezilla's and... You know, he used it the next night to get second in 1A, which was like just a big deal to be using aluminum yo-yos on stage at Worlds.
That was very weird.
No one was doing that at all.
And it's funny because at the time people would throw out the stupidest. And I was one of them just thinking like, what is this going to be the future? Everyone just has $300 of yo-yos to compete with. It's like, yeah, motherfucker. You know what I mean? That's kind of regular. Like, why not? You know, like any professional equipment in any sport is going to be expensive. So like, why wouldn't it be? But
you were using freehands. Dana used Element X.
And he at least had a metal ring to give him a little extra weight. And inertia throwing him, but like
AJ was using Spin Factor HGs.
And then the Black Knight.
The Black Knight. Such a weird yo-yo. I wish I still had one.
Dude, they're actually pretty good.
Like, I like them. They're very fun. Big round.
You couldn't make like a metal version of that because it would be like people would look at you like you were crazy. Yeah, the shape is so weird. Yeah, like you could make a Delrin one and it'd be like, all right, this is interesting. But like if you made a mono metal Black Knight, but what the fuck historic yo-yo, first one with a finger spin thing. Yeah, did you ever watch that John Narum video for it to that Eminem and song? And he does it. So it's I forget the name of that song, but it's like the Western themed Eminem song with the Royce da 5'9". So good. And
Yeah, he does them differently. He doesn't pop up and do a finger spin.
I think he just does it from like a trapeze.
He goes into trapeze and puts his thumb in and like slowly brings it up. And that's like origin of a finger spin, but it was very whack back then. I mean, it wasn't that interesting to see.
There's a bar in that song about hitting trees like Sonny Bono, and that's because that's how Sonny Bono died.
Oh my God, yeah.
And I used it as like a Instagram caption like years. It was like 2017 or 18 I used it. And somebody commented or like messaged me. It was like, hey man, like I don't know if you know this or not. This seems like kind of a crazy message, but Chaz Bono, Sonny Bono's kid, is actually a yo-yo player and like follows a lot of our accounts. What? So like you should probably change that as soon as possible.
For real?
Yeah. And I was like, damn, all right. And I changed it. And sure enough, like when we dropped the charm a few months later, Chaz Bono ordered one. And I was like, this is wild.
No fucking way.
Yeah, dude, it was insane.
That's hilarious.
He has like he's one of those G squared people. He has a ton of G squared yo-yo.
Oh my God.
Isn't that tight?
That's interesting. I had no idea.
Yeah. Good times.
Him and Lil Ugly Mane. Yeah. The other celebrity. I use that to brag all the time. I'm not gonna lie. That he follows me. I'm like, yeah, Lil Ugly Mane follows me.
Who has it ever worked on anyone? Maybe in Philly.
People know who he is.
Yeah.
Some younger yo-yoers have been impressed. They're like, no fucking way.
Yeah, I've gotten a couple messages from random younger yo-yoers like, why is Lil Ugly Mane funny? I'm like, oh, like I send him some yo-yos.
I love him, dude.
Randomly. Dude.
So good. Check out Lil Ugly Mane.
It is tight when you genuinely like their music. And
I love him, dude.
Yeah, and at the end of the year, you see it like on your top list.
Yeah, he was my top.
And you're like, damn, this is awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's going to be the same thing with mine for Kevin's music this year. Where I'm like,
oh yeah, dude,
it's really good music.
Check out Field Medic.
It's cool that he yo-yos.
So good. Yeah.
It's awesome.
Yeah, the whole renaissance of players from the age we're talking about right now coming back. Brian Koski came back. Kevin's sort of back and posted and shares stuff.
Yeah.
Lots of people. And for me personally, I have Worlds 2016 to thank in Ohio because I sort of took a long break between like 2010 and 15. And then once Worlds was back in the States, I was like, I can drive to Cleveland. It'll be kind of a fun road trip. And that's sort of what got me to like make a yo-yo Instagram and get back into it, is just having so much fun at that contest. That contest was so... And I just like met, who's the guy whose signature yo-yo is the boy on CLYW?
Ayumu Harada.
Yeah, Ayumu is really good at 5A.
He's very
His 5A is insane. Yeah. And we were standing outside the hotel and he was showing me 5A tricks. And then I was like, I have some 5A tricks. And I showed him some of my old ones, like Cool Whip and stuff. And he was impressed. So I was like, I was just so awesome. Amazed that this guy who's like like just so good was actually like interested in seeing him, that like one singular moment was like, well, I'll just make an Instagram and post these old tricks on it.
Damn, so
just to like,
to thank.
Yeah, I very much do.
Back. That's awesome.
And it's been pretty cool to be back, but yeah.
No, that's rad. I can't believe it. You can trace it back to that one contest. So that's awesome. But you're right though. Cause you like dipped and dabbled before then, but like right around then you really started to go back in.
It was such a good contest. So much fun hanging. Everyone was there. Just everyone. Like Yuki was there. Like everyone.
There was like an interesting. I don't dislike Ohio. It was just such a weird venue. Like I had a lot of fun and it was cool, and I wouldn't mind it to be there again in the future. But
we gotta get Philly going, dude.
How would you feel about Worlds in Orlando again?
If it was at the Rosen, I would be there. 100%. 100%.
That's where it might. They haven't like said anything yet. Like
that would be a dream come true. Even though they changed the whole thing, I think they renovated the whole place.
Did they? Yeah, something like that. I don't know. So we just have like a connection with the Rosen now, so it's like, wouldn't it be cool to have it there? Like, let's think about it. Like,
that would be amazing.
This is pure speculation. Like, no one watch this and think that that's actually going to happen, but like, it's just like. Someone brought that up to me, and then I was like, oh, maybe like I could float it to random people and see what they think. And like, I don't control any of that, but like, I definitely am in touch with the people who make those calls and can be like, yo, this could potentially be cool to have it here. Like,
I love it. I'd love to get back to Florida.
And I feel like it could have a strong international showing again where people want to come. Like Florida sucks for people that live in America, but outside of America, when you want to do the tourist thing, like Florida is one of the justifiable places.
Right, yeah.
Like, oh, I can go and kill a bunch of birds with one stone versus everywhere else in America. Like, how the hell can you justify a $1,200 flight from Japan to Cleveland just to be like, all right, cool, go to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
I had fun there, but yeah, it's not that.
I would go too. I'd probably love it.
I went by myself that year. It was so fun.
I remember when I went to EYYC, I stayed in Berlin for 2 weeks beforehand in Germany because there's like a pretty strong yo-yo scene there. But in Germany is this museum called the Athens Museum. And I think it's called the Athens Museum. Whatever it is, it's like a Latin word for like old or like the age old. And it has like all these old relics and pieces in it, but it has that actual Greek vase in it of the person yo-yoing on the outside.
No way.
Yeah, so I went to go see that, right?
Wow.
And I went with Hank Freeman and AG was there. That I've never thought about that till just now, but that's really cool that like AG and I won Worlds the same year. We got to go see that together. Hank was also world champion. I wish we got a picture together in front of him, but like it's kind of like our Rosetta Stone in a way, you know what I mean? It's like the earliest historical rendition of a yo-yoing, whatever. Like
it's incredible.
Yeah, but like all the German yo-yo player they're staying with, his name is Pak. We're like, yo, have you ever been to this museum? He was like, oh no. We're like, what are you talking about? And like, in order to go, you didn't have to pay. It was like a suggested donation, but like just the fact that they would even suggest a donation was like so inconsiderate to him. He's like, we pay for the upkeep of this museum through our tax dollars. It should be free to everyone. Like they should never even like ask for money from anyone. We're like, yo, in America, this would be like a $30 museum to go to. So like the fact they only maybe suggest you pay $15, like, and you can go for free if you're really broke. Like,
I love Europe.
Funny. Yeah. Yeah, that was such an interesting time to be on Antio. I feel like.
It's the prime time, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, just when all those other teams, like Duncan was like on the out, you know what I mean? Like Duncan wasn't like the cool team to be on. If you were on, like you got free yo-yos and shit, and no one was like really supporting you.
And
like,
by 2007, Steve had left for Yo-Yo Factory. Yo-Yo Jam was mighty cool. That was my number 2 always.
But it was kind of like...
But it was huge. There were so many people on that team. It didn't feel as exclusive.
And it was cool, but it wasn't cool in the same way. Like, it wasn't exclusive and like it wasn't...
It was a little more clean cut because they had Dale running it.
Clean cut is a better word.
And like they would fly everyone down to Worlds beforehand, like a week before, and they'd hang out at Dale's house and like practice together.
Yeah.
And like Antio, again, I hate to use the term punk rock because it's so corny, but it really was more sort of like Duncan was when I started.
Raw,
it was this more like raw,
whatever you want to say. Yeah.
And like just cool because it was a little like just by making expensive aluminum yo-yos, they were like anti-establishment in a way because they were like going against the grain completely.
Yeah.
Making these weird like Ames inspired like, you know, like strange.
Yeah. The colorways of all the yo-yos. Like I remember it would be so legendary when Yo-Yo Jam would make one yo-yo in pink. Yeah. And it was like they made their only yo-yo in pink. And it was like,
and the first yo-yo was pink and black, which was like nothing had ever been done like that.
Yeah.
All the aluminum yo-yos were always just shiny aluminum. They weren't bead blasted, anodized. Like they were just shiny aluminum. So to make a bead blasted pink and black yo-yo was like...
Damn. Do you think it was the first yo-yo that was bead blasted?
Probably...
I'm trying to think of what yo-yos before that would have been.
I mean, I guess
like Cold Fusion was shiny. Yeah. Silver Bullet was shiny.
I don't know. It certainly was like the first heavily blasted for a reason.
Right.
For grinds.
Even
like,
401k was shiny. Phi was like satin finish. It wasn't bead blasted.
Yeah. That's interesting. But it definitely like no one was bead blasting for the purpose of doing grind smoother. Right. And they like put that in their copy, like when they released the Flux.
Yeah.
Really unique.
Even their website too. Like, I don't want to harp on Antio too much, but like, we could talk all day about it and how cool it was and how much it did for yo-yoing, and like
their website was awesome. Yeah, no one had a
description for the yo-yo. Everyone had a cool profile. Like,
the description was great. The profiles were cool. They had a very like sarcastic tone to their copy that was like not the norm.
Yeah, they didn't take it too seriously. Yeah, like they made cool shit.
Very tongue in cheek.
Yeah, they let the product speak for itself, and it wasn't like you weren't gonna read like their copy with a bunch of junk science that was like the slip mat finish for the longest grinds. And like, look at this guy silly. Winning worlds doing it. Yeah, it's like a joke about Eames, and then like
it feels good on my finger. Bar, yeah, the Korova milk bar. It's like a weird
edible.
Orange, what's Clockwork Orange reference, I think.
Oh, like, yeah.
It's just interesting. And I had to look all that up as a kid. I didn't understand, but it was still like cool, and it was enlightening. Like, I learned so much from Kia and Sonny.
Enlightening
about like word, art and just like culture. They flew me out to California for the first time. I got to go to the West Coast, like, and experience like fashion and art, because Kia had the Turf store at the time, pre Self Edge.
That's so eye opening when you're a teenager coming from a place. It was the like perfect time.
Yeah, I was from a very small town in Pennsylvania, which it was a college town at least. So it wasn't completely isolated, but it was still a big deal to have these guys from California like taking me under their wing a little bit and being cool to me and like teaching me stuff. It was very, very important to my life for sure.
Oh yeah, that was a big thing that was hard to find in yo-yoing back then. Now yo-yoing is like much more, it was welcoming back then, but it wasn't as like, oh, I'm gonna take you under my wing. And like now yo-yoing is just like, if you're around long enough, you kind of will indirectly find like someone to like be your mentor. Like kind of, not directly, but yeah, back then it was like a little bit harder to find, or like everyone was kind of like doing their own thing, and like it wasn't as tight knit as it is now. Like it wasn't like people didn't want to see people succeed. There just wasn't as clear of a pathway, or like it wasn't as easy. Like, you know, now you could just post on the BST or forum like, oh, can I find somewhere to stay, or do you have an extra place I can stay? But back then you had to like know someone, and you had to. It was all who you knew, and it was like a big networking thing, and like it was cool though. So Worlds 2006, and then you competed at Worlds 2007, right?
Yeah, let's see here.
Let me bring up
check my yo-yo wiki. Then Nationals, I got second. I got third. I got second in 4A though. That's pretty cool.
I thought you were gonna win that year. You got second in 4A that year.
Yeah,
that's wild.
And third in 5A.
I kind of remember you like at that time.
I was pretty good at 4A. Dude.
No, you were great at 4A, but I remember you after that like saying that you were maybe gonna make like a 4A yo-yo or something too. I forget. Or maybe...
we talked about that, and the Jakezilla we talked about, which was gonna be a Delrin Babezilla.
Maybe it was like that. Never you were just gonna make an oversized version that like you could play 4A with, because you were playing 4A with like
none of it ever happened though. I never got a signature yo-yo until I made my own. I had to make my own yo-yo, but it worked out.
You're better off that way.
Better off that way, probably.
Not like in a negative way, but you know what I mean. Like when
it would have been cool to have an Antio signature model though.
It would have been crazy.
Really fucking the only one.
Yeah, but when you're left to other people's devices, and I don't mean that like in a negative way, but like you know, you're there. Kia and Sonny was like already their side project. You know what I mean? So it's like only when they have the extra money and time and effort to put into it. So it's like you know, now that you have the full control, like you can do whatever you want.
It's much better. Obviously, I was like half joking, but
no, but like you said, like
it is funny that I never got one though, because like everyone from our era got one pretty much. I guess
I really don't think so. I mean, like who? I mean, yes, they did, but it's like no one's really did well. Like I was lucky that I got multiple chances with Yo-Yo Factory. You know what I mean? And
you had the train wreck too.
Yeah, which wasn't good. Like it was fun, but it like wasn't a great yo-yo. You know, it's
kind of rough.
It was okay. Yeah,
cool shape.
It was. Yeah, it wasn't great. Like even the second one wasn't great, but it was like. Because no one was really mentoring anyone and pushing them in the right ways to design shit. It's just like, oh, go crazy, do whatever you want, you know? Yeah. And like eventually, like when I learned what was better and what was going to make a good yo-yo, that's like when the Supernova came into play and like started doing really well. But even before then, with those other yo-yos on Yo-Yo Factory, I was kind of letting Ben call the shots as to like what would be the design of it, and he would always have these like novelty pitches of like, oh, let's do this cap on it or that cap, and it was always yeah. Great point.
Severe with the cap, which I still love this yo-yo.
It's a great yo-yo. And retrospectively, I see what he was trying to do. But like, again, just like there is a lack of like, and it's not like Ben's fault because it's like I was literally 17 years old when we were designing it. But it's just like when you're letting a kid like call the shots and do whatever they want. And then it's like, oh, like I remember doing this artwork with John Huber.
Yeah,
and
so sick.
Yeah, it's so amazing. But it's like it took John like a week and a half, 2 weeks, and like his salary at the time was like 45 grand a year or something. Like, you know, and so it was just crazy, you know what I mean? Like to think about like, damn, they really paid like $800 to $1,000 for that, and like,
it's so good though.
No, and it's great, and they reused it later, and like,
on the plastic.
Ultimately, probably did not get their money's worth, but I mean, like, what it's, you know. You live and you learn, because now like their artwork they don't put as much effort into, and like it's
they sure don't. It's rough, man.
But it's, I don't know. It is what it is. Like we all do these things, and like you've had, it's not like full term collaborations, but you've had like talkings with people where you'll start to like plan stuff out, and then like all these roadblocks happen, and you're just like, shit, all right,
it's hard, man.
Go do it on my own. Right, exactly. Like you live and you learn. Like, I don't know.
Gotta do it yourself.
Yeah, and just like we were talking about earlier, when you started using a metal yo-yo on stage, like yo-yo is so fast paced to change, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just shit is like over.
It happened so quick.
Yeah.
By 2007, lots of people were using metal, and then
because now the majority of yo-yos don't even have art on them.
Yeah.
People would prefer for them to have no sort of marking on them or whatever.
Yep.
And then I swear it was like no one used to bring up like that yo-yos weren't identifiable till like I started making jokes about it. And now I swear every week on the BST, someone posting like, what is this yo-yo? But it's like,
I remember you bringing that up.
I don't think it's because anyone actually cares. I think it's just like
it's
the
direct
ongoing joke. It's just like, oh, what? That's funny. I don't know what the fuck this is.
It's directly the reason I came up with the white wall thing is because of you making that joke. Like you need to have something. No, it's great because it worked out. And this isn't completely identifiable, but it is like when people post case pictures, like you can pick a dunk out
exactly what
real quick. Yeah. So it kind 100%. Of works.
No, you're totally right on that.
And it's carries over through every single one I make. So like it works.
And it's minimalist and semi like Antio inspired.
Yeah.
Just being like.
But the main thing was you just saying it has to have something because I knew I didn't want my fucking name on it or.
Yeah.
Anything. Like I couldn't think of, it's funny because I like making art and drawing, but like I don't want to make art for yo-yos. Like I just don't.
It's still crazy
I don't know
to me
why.
that you hand draw on every box.
Yeah.
It's wild.
I got 100 of them sitting over there. Spent hours the other night.
I was going to say, at least you like do it
it's a little fun.
More
and I've had a lot of people tell me that the first time I did them to order.
Yeah.
So, and I got overwhelmed with orders like big time right away. So I had to sit there as I was packing them, like drawing each one. It was crazy.
That must have been awful.
Now I do it ahead of time. I'm a little smart, but people have told me it's the only packaging they keep and like
that's
people
awesome.
collect
yeah.
that. So like it's worth it to me.
100%.
I mean,
yeah.
even though it's very cheap and like, I don't know, but I figure all yo-yo packaging is kind of cheap and like
that's what I was gonna say.
Not a lot of it just gets thrown away. Like it's just a box with a sticker on it. So
packaging in general is cheap. When you buy a new car, it's a fucking baggie with all the paperwork inside of it. You know what I mean? Like,
so if I can make it at least interesting, before you throw it away, like at least you look at it for a while. Like,
I can't imagine anyone throws yours away knowing that there's hand drawn art on it.
Yeah,
like,
I mean.
It really adds people in yo-yoing now when they support brands, they would much rather support someone they know is just a person rather than like a company they feel is an entity.
That's the whole reason I did it that way, which
it feels that much more.
I didn't do it as a business choice. The real reason is because I couldn't think of a company, like a theme. Like I couldn't. I just really, truly, I'm not just saying that. Like,
no, but
I couldn't come up with anything that I would rather be than myself. Like,
that's awesome. I think it's kind of dumb when people do rant because it shows if
it's uninspired. Like,
well,
when it's something like Recess or like Turnbuckle, where it's like very well thought out and very interesting, and like the theme fits over every yo-yo. That's one thing, but then there's other companies that just you can tell they're just like, well, I can't just be myself. I need a company, so I'll name it after like animals or whatever. Like I don't
whatever it may be.
I'm not talking about anyone in particular, but it can be just detrimental, I think, because it's just better sometimes to just keep it simple and let the yo-yo speak for itself versus trying to make a brand. Like, it's such a small time business to begin with. Like, you don't need to necessarily be a brand. You can just be yourself. Like, we all know where these yo-yos are coming from. It's not a secret. Like, you don't need to hide behind a company necessarily. Although it's tempting to be like SF and just like be anonymous sometimes. It would be cool. But
yeah, I feel like that's a very rare instance. Though, because like most people don't look at it and like, because most people aren't incurring that type of popularity. You know, if most people do it and they're like, it's just their regular amount of popularity and friends are buying their shit. Like, so it's very rare that like their people are starting a brand and then they get like thousands of more followers than just their regular profile has, or they become insanely more popular than their regular selves are.
And again, if you enjoy that, I'm not trying to talk down on it.
No.
Like, if you enjoy the brand aspect and you want to make your brand, do that. But for me personally, I didn't find that fun to try to think of like, how can I make myself a brand? So I just made myself the brand and it worked out.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, because you have so many interests individually, like, you are a brand, you know what I mean? Like, it's because you're an artist. I wanted to kind of equate it to how artists are now, or like Keith Haring had like his own like line of clothing, and now like that's merchandise and all kinds of shit. But like, he didn't create like a separate brand from Keith Haring. I mean, he had like Pop Shop and that sort of thing, but it was just him as a person. And then, like, you buy my merchandise. Like, this is just one of the things that I merchandise. Like,
yeah. It's just trying to keep things easier and more simple.
That's why I was saying earlier in the podcast, it's kind of good that you got out when you did, and it wasn't like something you did to like a point of detriment. Because I feel like some yo-yo players that stay in it for too long and then kind of look back and they're like, oh, I wasted so much time doing this and didn't get anything out of it. And so few people get their comeuppance as far as like being able to design a line of yo-yos and sell them and have people actually buy them and feel like reciprocate that positivity that you put out into the community. You know what I mean? Like,
no, I feel very lucky that
so many people
all came around.
Yeah, they get like the one shot. Like we were talking about earlier, you were like, basically everyone from our generation got their pro model. And in my brain at first, I'm like, what do you mean? And then I'm like, no, they didn't. And I'm like, wait, they did. Because like Sebastian's had like 3 or 4, but like they've never done like exceedingly well. Like they do okay, but they don't do anything like the Dunk did or whatever. And then same with AJ, like he had the Ringmaster. Yeah, he wanted to call it the Blackjack, so people would have to call it the BJ.
Yeah, because everyone on the forums would call Yo-Yo Jam Yo-Yos, like the Hitman was the HM. They would just abbreviate it. And so his big joke was, I'm going to call it the Blackjack, dude. So everyone call it the BJ. It's
it was like pretty good. Like,
it's just hilarious.
It is.
Only AJ would think of that.
But also, like, getting Blackjack, you get an ace.
It's a great name,
which is 21. Yeah, it was like amazing, but like it was also like
just the reason he wanted to do it was just for kids to call it a BJ.
So children would
I love throwing my BJ.
Have to ask their mom for a BJ.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah.
But Yeah, like none of them were wildly successful, or like they had their one run and done, and like I don't know, because most times they're yo-yoing for a big corporation, not a big corporation, but like a company that has a line of products and other stuff they have to make. So it's like their priority isn't AJ or Sebastian. It's like making everything else, and then AJ or Sebastian gets their one chance to make a yo-yo, and then like, oh, it didn't go so hot. Like hopefully next time it goes well. Like when you get another chance in 2 years. Even Mikhail, I think Mikhail ended up with 2 pro models, right?
Vigilante, I believe.
Maybe just one, yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, same thing. It's like, and he got like 3 or 4 prototypes. Like I can't imagine how much that shit costs to make. Like, but same thing where it's like no one cared, but it just didn't do what it should have done for such a legendary player. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because when we were kids, watching all those videos was like insane. Like it was so good. But now looking back, it's like, you know, that yo-yo just because Mikhail was so cool and like you like Mikhail so much, but
no one else really probably remembers it too much.
Right.
Yeah, it paid off to just wait 15 years and do it myself. That's all it took. I just had to do it for 15 fucking years. And then pay for everything myself and then promote the shit out of it. It wasn't not a lot of work. Like, it's a lot of work, dude. You have to do it yourself. You have to put it, what you get out what you put in, for sure. Like,
oh yeah,
I put in a lot of hours just talking to people in DMs and like,
I can't imagine. Yeah.
Writing copy and like, I don't even call it just writing posts and like filming tricks to get up extra early before work all week this week to just like get outside before it's too hot outside to like try to film some stuff. And it's not like work, but
it's still
stuff to do that like I spend time and energy on.
And it's not just like you're dicking around and then happen to turn the camera on.
No,
it's like
I'm trying to like make it interesting and get people excited for this yo-yo that I have coming out. So
people don't believe the like game of impressions that yo-yo requires in order to sell shit, because they just think it's like, oh, you put it out in the ether and like people come across it and it just sells. And it's like, no, it's literally like
really do need to put stuff into it.
Yeah, the more that you post about it, the more people are going to see it, and then the more they're going to want to buy one. Like it's not. And then you're going to have to convince people. Like people see you playing with it once, then think it's cool, then see you playing with it again, and then think that colorway is cool, then see you playing with it a third time, and then it's like, all right, cool, it's payday. I guess I'll buy one today. Like, but it took you 3 posts. Like, and people don't really think about stuff like that. They just
post once that the yo-yo's out. I see sometimes, and it's like, it's out, and then that's it. And that's not going to cut it. There's too much competition. There's too many companies.
Especially when the yo-yos get spread out, like when you sell them to many different stores, and it's like, you know, people in Japan aren't awake when you post something in America. So it's like,
right.
If that's not a popular post, like that might not get seen by Japanese players. Like you got to do something that's, and like full length videos are dead now. Like it's all, yo-yo's in a great place, but it's in a very weird place too.
Yeah, it's very odd. I don't know how long TikTok's going to exist for, if it'll go the way of Vine and just disappear, and what that will mean. But I love yo-yo TikTok, but it's just, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here is all I'm saying.
Yeah. As a purist, it's hard to watch it devolve to the point that it is right now.
Yeah, like but it happens.
Yeah, we want what's best for it, but I appreciate what it's doing for the industry. You know what I mean? And
imagine how many top-notch chefs look at like chef TikTok and they're just like, these fucking people are just posting like basically ASMR videos of chopping stuff and like
rubbing a knife on the top.
Getting all the, like, I'm sure that's infuriating too. So it's every single like industry and hobby is dealing with how weird it is that these short little videos are like the most popular thing.
And the homogenization of their.
But I'm not even, I watch them like everyone else does. So I'm not talking down. I'm just saying, I don't know what happens next. Like, does it get even shorter?
Right.
Like, I really don't know. But maybe it'll like swing back and it'll go back to like people want long form content, but I kind of doubt it. I don't know.
I mean, that's kind of what the yo-yo design market has done, you know what I mean? Like why organic shapes became more popular because contests weren't happening, so V shapes and modified shapes
that was interesting.
Weren't being pushed versus like people just wanted to play with whatever. Like if you pay close enough attention, like the yo-yos that sell the quickest now are like unique yo-yos. Like the yo-yos that have unique features.
Which is really cool, yeah.
It is, yeah. But it's like unheard of in yo-yoing. Like that's a very weird thing. Like normally it was like, all right, the most generic, like basic thing is going to sell the best because it's the most approachable. And now it's like kind of the
very bizarre one. Yeah, there's some wild stuff happening, which is great. It's a good time for yo-yos. There's a lot of fun ones.
Yeah. I'm interested though, like you said, with the shortened content and like what that's going to continue to do because yo-yoing inherently requires a large attention span. Like you're not going to get good at it very quickly. Like the people who get the best at yo-yoing are the people who are like, I don't want to say the nerdiest, that's the wrong word, but it's like the people who are willing to dedicate the most amount of time.
You got to get obsessed.
Like, right. Yeah.
Yeah. When people ask me how to get better or like how to come up with tricks, it's such a hard thing. You just need to do it all the time.
Right. Yeah.
Like, the more you do it, the more it'll become second nature. And then once it's second nature, then you can like, you get bored and then you can come up with new things, which is how you come up with tricks. Like
people think it's just random inspiration and it's like, no, it's a grind. Like you've just yo-yoed a lot and
it's a product of boredom or of doing tricks wrong. Like that's the other thing that Steve Brown always said, like just do a trick wrong, like do a double or nothing wrong. And then you miss the string. So then like that's a new mount really. And you can do something different from that than you could do from double or nothing. So like if you just
funny advice. It's right.
I thought it was
totally
cool.
Right. And it is.
I always followed that. I would be like start to do a double or nothing and then cross my arms. And now I'm in something like do something wrong and then you're going to find something new. So
you do it well. Just like when you watch Steve Yo-Yo, I feel like so many of his tricks look like that kind of, you know what I mean? Where it's like he just makes a mistake, but it's like, oh no, that's a trick. Right?
Yeah. He's got great tricks, man.
Yeah, he does. Yeah.
Very unique style.
Yeah. He had some old tricks and, old Glass Lab videos that when I was a kid, I would always be like, this is insane.
Yeah, Glass Lab and where he's at, Spin Doctors. Yeah, those videos are insane.
He's just playing with like a super weirdly shortened string, like responsive ass yo-yo in like a burger restaurant somewhere or something. It's super random. I remember
exactly that.
It kind of just reads that way. So you're about to release a new dunk, right?
Yes, Dunk Rebound, which is...
I'm glad that you stacked it in front of the beer. Yeah. I was about to move all this shit. But
the original dunk shape, because the most requested thing I get was, do you have any more OG dunks? So I was like, I need to rerun the original dunk just for all these people asking. But I didn't want to do it the same way. So I made it have a D-bearing with the Freshly Dirty size pads. Shout out to Freshly Dirty who helped a lot with figuring this out, and they're just awesome. I just watched the Alex Morton video, or the other guy from Freshly Dirty that you interviewed for the goods.
What is his name?
We'll get it in post.
Yeah. Anyway,
I feel terrible. I forgot to.
Mountain climber. No. Yes. It's like right on the tip of my tongue. It's just like two.
Me too.
Random white boy
I'm
names.
Sorry, but
no, it's okay.
All their yo-yos are so good. Like they're a company that does it right as far as I'm concerned. Like
I agree. Yeah.
Executing things and like having an actual vision. So anyway, they helped a lot, and it's also 7075 aluminum, which is just much nicer. And I used a different machine shop than the previous yo-yos I've made, and they came out. I mean, Tyler and I were talking earlier.
Yeah, they're very, very good.
The bearing seat is incredible.
So did you think that the 7075 was going to be stronger? Because you probably have other yo-yos that are stronger metals, right?
Yeah.
But you don't have 300 of them or 400 of them, so you weren't going to like beat the crap out of them. And
no, it appears to really be noticeably like the one that I have set up for 5A. I've dropped outside on concrete.
And it's still glass
10
smooth.
times
like
now.
It's production smooth. Like it would be an A grade
it's
if you
smooth,
tested it. Like,
and instead of like gouging
gouges,
like the 66, you know what I mean? It doesn't gouge as bad. Like chunks don't come out. It sort of scrapes instead. So it's just clearly nicer.
A stronger material.
Yeah.
Can you feel it when you throw it personally? I can, like, just because I've thrown so many yo-yos.
I feel it more just like holding it and looking at it. You can just tell under the anodization. You can see that it's like, and the raw ones the
color takes differently too.
The color takes differently.
6061 versus like this lays on top of the metal more versus penetrating the 6061 more.
And the raw ones, I'll show you then, like just look so nice, dude. They look so nice.
I remember the first 7075 Yo-Yo Factory yo-yos I ever saw that were silver, like the 08888s, and I was just like, these are so shiny.
I would love an 888 right now. If I ever make another yo-yo that's not a Dunk series yo-yo, it's going to be like an 8. I'm just going to make an 888. I'm just going to like, you know what I mean? Because they haven't reissued it for some fucking reason.
They reissued it a few years ago, I think, like maybe right before the pandemic.
Titanium. They didn't. I don't think they did. Like
maybe you're right. Yeah,
they didn't do an aluminum one. They're slacking. So
they did like 20. I worked there when they did it. It was like 2010, maybe.
Right. Like so it's been 10 years.
It has been a long time.
12 years.
Right, yeah.
I want just a new 888. So I'm just gonna make an 8. But anyways,
that's awesome.
It feels good. It feels like I think you can testify to the fact it doesn't feel like the original one.
No,
like it's a different yo-yo. So if you have the original, it doesn't matter. Like this is completely different.
And normally debearing yo-yos, you're sacrificing a bit of spin time and playability for having the debearing, but like this plays just as well, if not better. Like,
I think it plays better. It's more what I originally wanted.
Yeah, it feels better. It has a more mid-school feel.
Yeah, which is what I originally wanted. I wanted a yo-yo that didn't have a huge gap that I can't bind, where I'm embarrassing myself because I can't hit binds. Like I wanted something that came back easily and felt more like 2010s, I guess, era yo-yo.
Even before that, but I know it's
probably even more. Yeah.
2010s era. Yeah. Good wording.
So I'm happy with it. I'm going to release it next week sometime, probably around the time this comes out. We're in the middle of the episode. So let's see. If you want to get one early,
text you the code, whatever you say.
What's that? Oh, okay. Yeah. If you want to get one early, I'll cover shipping and you can get it early. Just DM me, say you watched the episode and hit me with Scooby-Doo. That'll be the code word. And yeah, I'll get you one early, discounted. And that's just, we're just doing that to get, I want people to watch this. And this is the only, good like yo-yo content coming out. Podcast wise or just video. I think it's important and fun more than anything because there's room for content like this in yo-yoing and no one's really doing it. So
thanks, man. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
I'm surprised as many people care about it as they do. Like,
it's fun, man. People, when you're into something, you want to consume content about it.
Just when we were younger, I feel like, you know, there was only a handful of things like this, like Yo-Yo Radio.
Yo-Yo Radio. We're on the Yo-Yo Radio soundboard right now. I wish you guys could see it. When he told me that this is from Yo-Yo Radio, I geeked out and took a photo of it.
A lot of legendary episodes laid down.
It's incredible that it's in my house right now. My house. Like, what the hell?
Was that in the group chat the other day when Trevor brought up the Zamstrom episode of Yo-Yo Radio?
Yeah.
Where John Rob just like harassed him for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Anyway.
We need to get John Rob on here.
Yeah, we need to go down to Tennessee one time and
I'm down,
film
dude.
an episode.
If you want to drive down for a weekend or a couple days, half a week or a week. I love Tennessee, dude. We'll just eat cookout. Food will cost nothing because we'll just eat cookout the whole time. It's so cheap.
Yeah, I'm very down. I'm trying to do like a yo-yo road trip at some point.
I'm down for that. Yeah, let's do it. Damn. So where were we?
the last thing we were talking about was before the dunk divergence was like right, like
we can get into 2007.
Yeah, like after Antio and stuff, or like right as
I was still Antio through 2007, and
yeah,
you know, that was a fun year. Looks like I entered a lot more contests. It turns out you said I won a bunch of contests. I've only ever won Maryland States and Tennessee States. I swear. That's it.
That's it.
I got second at every major contest in the fucking world, but I never, like multiple times in multiple divisions. Like 2007, I got 6th in 4A, 6th in 5A. But wait, nationals, I got 2nd in 5A. There was one, Tennessee State's 1st in 1A, 2nd in 2A/3A. So I must have done 3A with 5A yo-yos. 1st in 4A, 3rd in 5A. So I entered every division and got top 3 in everything. So I was just more known for that, like just placing top 3 in like everything I entered.
Yeah.
I never really won contests.
It's funny shit like that made the World Yo-Yo Contest have like a combined division. And then, like, did you ever compete in combined?
I did. I didn't make it far because that was maybe later, 2008, when I like really sucked. I'm not sure, but
it was hard.
It was really hard. And then I got Trick Innovator of the Year at the end. And Trick Innovator of the Year used to be a big deal. Now it doesn't even exist anymore, really. We're trying to bring it back.
Didn't you guys give it to Brian Figueroa last year, right?
Yeah, and we're trying to bring it back in some way.
It's cool that you guys are taking it back because everyone always complains that like the league never gives it to the right person.
It was run by the National Yo-Yo League. The same guys who give out like the National Yo-Yo Master Award, if you've heard of that. So like...
Probably not.
Well, yeah, I know. No one, but it used to be a big deal. But Trick Innovator of the Year started by they gave it to Doc Pop, and then they decided whoever won it would get to pick the next year's winner. So Doc Pop picked Jason Lee, I think, or no.
No, maybe
Paul Escolar. He picked Paul Escolar.
Yeah, Giant Evaluate was
Paul Escolar picked whoever, and it goes like that. So it was a very unique award in that the previous year's winner would pick it. So it was very prestigious. Yuki Spencer, Paul Escolar, all these guys are alumni. And then me and John Rob won it, which was the first time 2 people won it. It was fun. Me and John were hungry, so we went across the street from the Chico venue to Taco Bell and we got nachos Bel Grande, and they had just stopped putting green onions on the nachos Bel Grande because of an E. coli outbreak. And I just remember John like flipping at like it's nothing without the green onions. Like it needs to have the green. Yeah, it needs to have the green onions. It adds an extra layer. It makes it so much better. And we were just like eating like but it was just so funny. I just will never forget that for some reason. Because we immediately, as we were walking across the street from Taco Bell to the place, they were on stage saying, and Trick Innovator of the Year, John Robb and Jonathan Robinson and Jake Bullock. Like we got back.
I remember hearing that.
We like just walked. The timing was insane. Like we walked back together full of Taco Bell and got called up on stage like completely unexpected.
That's so dope. Y'all were together too.
Yeah, and we were together and we had just like had a funny discussion about green onions.
That's so amazing.
It was
what a
cool.
Good story. Yeah.
It was really fun, and it felt really good and validating because we did our little battle videos that we didn't expect to like take off, but people still watch those, and like it was unique in the sense that we were like being competitive outside of contests, and also the tricks that we pushed each other to do were really good. I think some of them like really hold up. So
I don't know if it was the first online trick battle or not, but like it was the first one of that like magnitude
where like people paid attention and got excited and like were taking sides, and it was pretty cool. Like,
and it like by the end it kind of like did what it was supposed to do, and just like it raised your guys' awareness in the community exponentially.
Yeah.
And no one was really like, oh, Jake won or John.
No, it didn't matter in the end.
This was so sick.
There was no winner. Like, it was up to your opinion. You could watch them and say whoever won, but we didn't declare a winner. So I don't know. It was just it happened very naturally. I remember John calling me like, I want to battle. Like, he just wanted to do it for some reason. I wish I could remember more why. That's why we got to have John Rab on.
I remember talking to people on the phone back in the day.
Yeah, he just called me. I was at my friend's house and I'm like a kid, but he was just like, we got to battle. Like, we had some sort of beef because we were both not placing where we weren't winning. John Rob was never winning either, like at contests, and neither was I. So I think that sort of probably is where it stemmed from, because like neither of us were winning contests, but like we were competitive with each other. And I did like steal some of his vibe with tricks, like Tech 5A. He definitely took ownership of that, and rightfully so, because he was doing it first. I mean, Johnny Del Valle.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
But John Rob did do that wrist mount trick that pretty much like started it for me. And then I saw that and like built off of it. But I think he took a little possession of that and wanted to battle me for that reason too, because it's like, you're using my style and we got to see who's actually the best, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, so, it wasn't like
there was a little bit of like realness there for like him, I think.
And that's why it was like a fun thing for him, you know what I mean? Like, yo, we're gonna do this internet yo-yo battle because you stole my trick. Like, it's almost like joke, but it is like, yo, like, I kind of take offense to this. It's like, I want people to know that this is my, like.
Yeah, no, and I wanted to prove that I had my own tricks. Yeah, and I came up with new tricks just for those videos.
That was a whole new fucking wave.
It was a huge motivation. Big wave. Huge motivation.
And some of those tricks you did in those videos set the course for like 5A whips before Cool Whip and all that. And I know you didn't do Cool Whip originally in the battle video, but like that was very short. Time.
It was 2007.
Like so many of tricks from those waves set the tone that are tricks that people still do now. You know what I mean?
For sure.
And it's like, it's just crazy to see that without the not that the battle, it was the catalyst, you know what I mean? As the intro.
And no, that was John's intention too. Like it wasn't all from a negative, but he wanted to push people all the time.
Yeah.
He did it constantly better than anyone, dude. He pushed us so hard. He pushed everyone who was on stage, like just by being honest after your freestyle, like that was no good. You need to do that. Like he was very just different compared to every other nerd yo-yoing at that time. Like he was actually in it and competitive and very good at motivating you to do better in his own way.
No one at the time wanted to take ownership of getting better or be like,
or to admit they practiced a lot.
Yeah, everyone, it was cool to be and like,
I was guilty of that too. I was like, I picked my song before, I don't care. But
that was just the
in hindsight, I was just as I wanted to win just as bad. Yeah. But I just didn't like to admit that I was practicing hard. So
because that was the attitude within yo-yo though, you know what I mean? I hated that. Like at the time, I was like,
it was like a slacker.
Cool to be jaded. Like,
right. I don't know.
The slacker thing, it was like I didn't care so much about that as the like people saying yo-yoing is whack while they're at a yo-yo contest.
Right.
It's like, then why are we here? Like the people who didn't want to admit that they were practicing or pretending like they didn't practice. It's like,
exactly.
Why are we here?
It was very silly in hindsight.
Anyway, John Rob was a crazy influence. Yeah.
Huge.
Curdy has a lot of funny stories being at Yo-Yo Club and showing John Rob tricks and being like, no, that really sucks. And Curdy's dad being like, who the fuck does this guy think he is? Telling this kid that he sucks.
Oh my God.
Dad, he's got a point though.
That's incredible. Getting mad at John.
Yeah, but it does make you want to get better. Earlier, oh man, do you remember the big controversy at that first Maryland States contest we were all at with Caitlin? She got second because she just went really clean and did like 10 different Rock the Baby variations. Could you imagine if that happened?
She had a streak there. Yeah. I mean,
she had a streak there
where she like went clean and won contests.
Right.
It was interesting.
Because people just were not practicing, like we were just saying.
She got on H-Spin, dude.
She did good. She got a pro model of Pyro, which is kind of crazy.
That's insane. I wonder what she's up to. That's crazy.
Yeah, God, I wonder.
Who knows? Pro model Pyro, man. That's the dream.
A legendary yo-yo.
It really was. I wish I had one. I have an Envy over there somewhere. Not nearly as cool.
It's funny how much we ripped on the Envy when it came out. Like, what a weird
And now
shape.
it's, an H shape? What do you mean? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of.
It's like the grind machine and grinds and everything else. It's like, oh, these are such sick yo-yos, but the Envy, we like ripped to pieces. Yeah. It had such cool artwork. The half-toned eye over the side.
It really is. It's pointillism, yeah. Incredible laser engraving, like
and it's like such dope Swiss design.
Yeah,
like, we just were too young to appreciate shit like this, and like the guy who designed it, it's like, oh, like
them and the oxys, dude. The oxygen.
Speaking of which, the oxy, that was one of the notes.
Someone sold like all oxygen 2, 3, and 4 recently, and I missed them for like $110, like something really reasonable, and they're like brand new mint and package. And it was on that like Fat Guy Snacks yo-yo BST. And I missed them, dude. I would love to. I would love to own a Oxygen 3 though. An Oxy 3. That would be sick.
Oxy 3 was like the V-shaped one. Right?
Yeah, like the more V-shaped.
They were all weird. Oxy 4 was nice.
4 was the nice round, but they had like a million spacers and they were like not practical to use.
It was very like weird Swiss engineering where it's like a whole bunch of extra pieces for no reason.
They were Italian, I believe.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Sorry, Italian. Yes.
Just like Bist. That's
yeah. Was it you or Sonny that told me the funny story about Carlo, the guy that owned
probably Sonny
Oxy? Yeah, he told me this crazy story about Carlo coming to Worlds and he was gonna room with Kia or Sonny, and he like asked them before he came, like, "Are you gay?" And then they were like, "No." Like, why does it matter even if I was? And he's like, "If you are not gay, send me a picture of you kissing a woman."
Whoa. Carlo did that?
Yeah.
Oh no.
He said, "Oh no."
Never mind. I don't want an Oxy.
I'm sorry. No, I thought you told me that story.
No, that's hilarious though.
Oh my god.
Different culture, different time.
Yeah, it was like 2003, 2004. Not that it matters, but it is funny 20 years ago.
So like, weird, dude.
I'm pretty sure like even the military, it wasn't like don't ask, don't tell yet.
Yeah.
Military.
He was just scared to room with another man though. Whatever.
I'm scared to be in the same room.
He needed proof. He needed proof. Jesus.
Yeah, the proof part is hilarious. Send me a picture.
Yeah, that makes me think there's something else going on. He just wanted to see some stuff.
All right.
2007, 2008. Eventually, Antio went out of business, basically.
Well, I mean, yeah, like
more or less. They didn't go out of business, but they stopped.
Because like
they stopped being a company.
When Yo-Yo Factory was like really chugging along, like Sonny would be randomly releasing like new Bapes or whatever, and like I forget if they were one drop collabs or whatever.
They were one drop collabs, okay, yeah. So those were technically one drop Yo-Yos.
Because I feel like he did so many of those. Like they did a YWET, they did the Bape.
They did the WET, the Bape, the BPZL, the WET, and the Countach.
Countach too, yeah. Countach is relatively
Countach is great. Such a cool yo-yo.
Did they have one of those back in the day too, I feel like, or no?
No, the WET they had back in the day and never got released. I have like the prototype WET thanks to Charles Schuler. Because I traded it to him back in the day and he gratefully traded it back to me. But that would have been the last Antio yo-yo after the business and the titanium one, the BSP. They were like prototyping the WET and it just never happened.
Yeah.
So then later the side effect WET happened with one drop. And the Countach again with like the culture and stuff I was talking about, like Countach is a whatever type of car.
It's a Lamborghini.
Yeah. So like stuff like that. They were just always cool as hell.
Yeah.
Like, with their design influences, it was a yo-yo inspired by a car, like an 80s Lamborghini. Like,
and it looked like
It looked like it.
Yeah,
like the angles and stuff.
Like, it's not like now where people will say that about a yo-yo and it's just like, oh, fun, like cool. It has a semi-car related logo. It's like it really looks like it was inspired by the design of it. And yeah,
till the very end, he was like all about that.
Yeah,
it would be cool if Sonny came out with a new yo-yo.
Yeah, very few yo-yo brands do the inspiration behind their products like that, you know.
No,
what I mean?
Yeah,
like it's just another yo-yo that's branded differently this time. It's not really like drawn from something else that gives them inspiration. It's very cool as a brand, you know.
It is.
Because like Yo-Yo Jam is like a glorified like anime company. Different yo-yos like assigned to characters and like it evolved into more later, but it's just like, you know, it didn't really have as much substance, you know what I mean? Like the yo-yos were great and everything, but it's like it's not like the Hitman character had a storyline or like was related to Lin Fury or or just anything, you know. But it takes a lot. Yeah,
was Lin Fury his girlfriend?
No. Nothing like that. I don't think anything. We don't know. Yeah,
it's his sister. Johnny. Sister-in-law.
All I know is she had some tiggle bitties on the first cap, and then they had to censor her.
They had to get rid of them.
These yo-yo players are horn dogs.
Damn, I don't even own a Lin Fury. I gotta get one of those.
I used to have so many. I had like 6 or 7 at one point because they were like $15.
And they were a half swap. Originally, which was very unique. Black and red, black and blue, black and green. Cool ass colors.
It was so dope. And then like working at Mitchell's or going to Yo-Yo Club there and getting like 10% off. They'd be like $13 or whatever for Lin Fury.
It's a good yo-yo, man.
Yeah.
Kickside too. I have a kickside.
Was like $10. Like bearings and shit like that back then were not cheap. So like, I don't know. You just buy shit, you know. Yeah, Kicksides were great too. The entire Cellcon line of Yo-Yo Factory was great. Like, or
Yo-Yo
Jam. Thank you. Yeah, like brands don't really think to cover that sort of range now. Like they would.
No.
I don't know. Because could you imagine if every brand, like every material, they had every possible design? You know what I mean? It would be an insane amount of product. But instead, they just kind of like whatever their popular thing is, they try to do that to exhaustion, and then. Yeah, it's pretty wild. Yeah, Yo-Yo Jam is great. Yo-Yo Factory made a lot of stuff for a long time. And they still make a lot of stuff now, but it's like in waves. And it's like all very similar. Like they'll release...
They're very different now than they used to be.
Yeah.
They used to really push the envelope too with the grind machine and grind master and stuff like that. The Teflon coated yo-yo. All that early grind series... where it was like grind TM. I think that pissed Johnny off.
Yeah.
They were like pushing stuff too. And obviously the 888, like I'll never forget playing with an 888 for the first time. It was at Turf. I really won't. It was at Turf. And so I threw it and I was just like, this is so much smoother than any Antio. Like what the hell? And I don't know. That's still just one of the best yo-yos ever made as far as I'm concerned.
I had a similar reaction to when I played like a 2008 one. 2007 ones were pretty smooth. Like they were very, very smooth.
The one I had was perfect. The Aqua one. I was BAC 2007. I got it. Good yo-yo.
Oh, yeah, you went to BAC 2007?
So yes. That's probably when it dropped. Did I get? Let's see.
And Yuki won.
I got 8th in 1A and 2nd as usual in Y division. Fucking Oniki beat me in 4A. So I was playing 5A. I hit the freestyle of my life, and world champ Oniki, one of the best 4A players of all time, shows up to an American contest from Japan, comes to the Bay Area and beats me.
And yo-yo's on a platform at a train station.
It was outdoors that year. Yeah, it was a train station.
Yeah, dude, that's so wild. The X division and Y division back then. I remember us getting reamed by Pat Cortero after not reamed, not like yelled at, but just like you'd get beat by him because like he
2A.
2A. Yeah. And he's not a good 2A player, but like you'd yo-yo your heart out and get beat by 20.
I had a great freestyle that year. I remember. So it was my first BAC. It's fucking awesome.
That's rad. Yeah. good years. So what happened after that? So like after Antio kind of like slowed down, did you got on Word after that, or how long after that? Or
that would have been 2000, like end of 2008 into 2009. I was on Word, which I got on through Randy Shreves, because Randy was on Word because he had moved to Australia at that point.
I forgot Randy was on Word.
Yeah, dude. Shout out Randy Shreves, one of my best friends.
Word was an interesting company. Yeah.
Yeah, great company. I don't know.
I wish that Word, like, it seemed like they would make a big push every year during Worlds and then like sell the leftover product they had after Worlds and make kind of like a push.
Yeah, you were talking about that with the Freshly Dirty guy. I still don't remember his name, but in that podcast, because he was with Word.
Right.
They have a lot of great alumni from that team.
Dude, yeah. Amazing team. And like
those yo-yos hold up too. I wish I still had mine. But like the cool ridges that they would put in them.
Yeah.
And the beefcake wasn't for me. I would just put concaves in them.
Yeah. They had a modular yo-yo before other brands.
That thing was awesome. The split decision. Yeah. I have a couple of videos on YouTube of me using those yo-yos.
That's wild.
I really love them.
It's crazy because like that yo-yo would do so well now. I'm surprised. I mean, they basically remade it with that Freshly Dirty yo-yo, but it plays differently, you know.
It does. Like, yeah, it's different for sure. I wish I still had the split decision. Yeah, I don't even think I have anything from 2008 on here. I know I competed in some stuff, but more or less by 2009, I was a full-blown heroin addict, so it's not funny.
Sorry, no, but just the way you say it. Yeah.
Which is something I'm open with talking about because I think it's important to talk about because it affects a lot of people and it has a big stigma around it. So I figure the more people who can be open about talking about it, the better we can get about talking about it and it can become less of a problem, right?
Yeah,
that's the way I see it. So that's why I'm bringing it up on a yo-yo podcast, but it's also a huge part of my life. And it did sort of affect my yo-yo career, as it were. Like 2009 Worlds, Word flew me out to World. That was my last Worlds until 2016. And I just like snuck heroin onto the plane and came down to the Rosen in Orlando and was just on drugs the whole contest. And, I was 17, 18. And it started like everything else with, like opiate pills and just leading up to heroin. And
it's a crazy time to go through that. It'd be crazy to go through that as
an adult. It's the end of high school for me. So
but as a kid,
it was like as wild. I was graduating high school and then a couple years after that. And, I've been clean since 2011. So I'm good now.
That's awesome. Yeah.
And
relatively quick, Yeah,
it was a short
into that. Yeah.
Just like my yo-yo career. It was about 2 years.
But some people like fall into that trap. Like I've had friends that I grew up with, and there's
absolutely
still issues with it. Like
it's killed years a later, lot of my friends. So many. So it's just, and I know people. Again, I'm not trying to like bring this podcast to a crashing halt. I'm bringing it up because I know there's people potentially even watching who struggle with that. It might not be heroin. It might just be pills like Xanax or whatever, but
in general,
it's a huge problem with everyone in our country and the world. And I don't know. I think it's worth talking about that it's possible to get better.
Yeah. Because it seems, and you struggled to even get off of it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like one shot.
No, yeah. It lasted much longer. It lasts to this day, the struggle. And it's not, I might have only been active addiction for 2 years, but it was inactive and coming back and relapses and everything for years after that. So, it affected my life in every way, but it definitely affected my yo-yo world life in that I stopped competing and I stopped going to contests. I lost touch with a lot of my yo-yo buddies. And
I'm surprised it's not a problem that affects more yo-yo players just because of the types of people we all are. You know what I mean? We're all like very
introvert.
Yeah.
For the most part, maybe socially awkward, maybe on the spectrum. It statistically affects that type of person more.
Right.
So again, that's why I'm bringing it up. Like, I think it's an important thing to talk about, and I'd like to make people aware that I've dealt with it and experienced it, because I want people to know that I'm available to talk to if you want to. And I think other people, if you are struggling, you should talk to someone, not necessarily me, but someone. I know it can be like the hardest thing in the world to bring up, but that's the only way you're going to get better, is by communicating about it.
Yeah, I'm surprised that there's not a larger yo-yo community and the skill toy community and juggling community. I don't want to speak for the entire skill toy community, but definitely the juggling and yo-yo community have huge mental health problems. Also not a laughing matter, but it's just, you know, like we were saying, it's like kind of stereotypical par for the course. People who would be into those activities also would have mental health issues. So it's like, I don't know.
And mental health goes with drug addiction too, or substance abuse.
Sure. And being from like the place you're from, like you said, it's a college town. So like there's a little more resources than average, but it's still not like, you know, now that you're older and you have a car and it's easier for you to get to Philly and you have like friends that have alternative interests, like things are different. But when you're a kid, those things seem like impossible to escape, or like that's just all that your community has to offer to you. You know?
I was just more or less self-medicating for my anxiety and depression that I had. And it just snowballed into, you know, a full-blown heroin addiction. And there's a huge stigma around that. And some people watching might even be like, why are you admitting that? And that's the problem. Like, you should admit it. You should talk about it, because it's a real problem and it needs to be talked about. So,
yeah, I remember when I was a kid, my dad got like a crazy head injury. He's a cop. Like, he's literally a police officer, and he had a head injury and got prescribed some kind of opioid and then like was addicted to it. Like, not like for fun, but like physically dependent upon it. And it's like
exactly how it starts.
But exactly, like, and he's one step away from being a heroin addict.
That's the huge thing. There you go. It's a cop. Like, dumb people think, oh, it only affects dumb people or street people or whatever, and it affects literally everyone. Anyone I know, mothers, father, every single type of person you can imagine can be affected by this. And it's some of the smartest people I've ever met have died, just been killed by addiction. So it doesn't matter. And the stigma is stupid, and it needs to be talked about, because it's just getting worse all the time. It's a huge problem. And so anyway, that's where I went for a little while, and, you know, I found my way out of it, and I found my way back to yo-yoing. Now we're here.
How did you do that? Because it's not an easy thing, and it's not like you come from like your parents like work very hard and like they provided for you, but you don't come from like this amazingly wealthy family that like could just pay for whatever kind of treatment. Like, it was sheer willpower and your determination.
Well, I did use Suboxone, which is a medication that I personally think saved my life. It's basically buprenorphine, which is a synthetic opiate, mixed with naloxone, which is basically Narcan. So it blocks your opiate receptors and keeps you from getting high. So while you're on it, you cannot take heroin or pills and get high. So that's a huge thing right there. Like, it's not going to work. So I can't do it. And it also, that little bit of buprenorphine, the synthetic opiate, like curbs your cravings and curbs the withdrawals.
Yeah.
So it is, some hardcore sober people consider it cheating or consider it a bad thing because it does require weaning off of when you're done with it. It is a drug itself. But for me, that's the level I was at. I needed that. I needed that help, and it worked for me. So anyone I think it's a better alternative to, you've probably heard of methadone. It's better than that, in my opinion. And I think it's worth checking out. As far as I know, it was pretty much covered by my insurance. I mean, I was on my parents' insurance as a kid, so I don't know about all that, but it was certainly cheaper than going to rehab. Although I did go to rehab, and while I was in rehab, Tyler sent me this Sweet Severe, which was really nice. He sent me a package of yo-yos from Yo-Yo Factory, which was very cool, and I'll never forget that. And I thank you for doing that, because it was nice to have some yo-yos while I was locked up in rehab. But you know, different people need different types of treatment. So I can only speak for myself. I used basically medically assisted treatment in the form of Suboxone, but some people need meetings every day. Some people need rehab. Some people need nothing, and they can just do it themselves. It's different for everyone, but you have to talk about it. If you just keep it to yourself, it's not going to get better. So,
yeah, and it goes for all addiction, like you were saying.
Anything, alcohol, it can be food, it can be anything. But if you're hurting yourself and you know it, and you've come to realize that, then that's where you can start getting help. Like,
yeah, there's a great yo-yo or mental health Facebook group I'll link in the description that
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It's not like specifically for addiction or therapy or anything like that. It's more so people that have like mental health, not even issues, just people that are struggling with like everyday stuff, and like maybe don't have a regular therapist they go to or whatever, and post the occasional venting message, and everyone can come together and be like, "Oh, it's all good, dude," or whatever the case
That's
may
nice.
be. Yeah,
that's good.
Is, right.
I didn't know about that.
It's a cool support group. Yeah.
That's important.
Yeah, people going through breakups, all sorts of shit. It is important, yeah, because it's a variety of people, you know what I mean? And it's very grounding for like a 50-year-old man, like a 20-year-old kid, and like some random 30-year-old to give you all their perspectives at one time. And it's cool. But yeah, the new generation is also a lot more open about these things too than our generation was. Like, not that everyone had problems like that, but also, like you said, there was a bit more of a stigma earlier on about it. And now, not that it's gotten much better, but it's starting to like become a little more.
There's still people. I only harp on the stigma because I remember one time, I think I shared this in a yo-yo BST. I don't know where it was, some sort of discussion on Facebook of yo-yoers, and I shared the same thing I just shared here, how I struggled with heroin addiction. And this like your yo-yoer was like, why would you share that? Like, now everyone's gonna think you're a fucking loser. Like, what, more or less.
What the hell?
Yeah, like it was crazy. And I remember Colin Beckford like came to my defense and was like, do you know who you're talking? Like, this guy is sharing, like, came to I just didn't even know what to say to this guy.
That's awesome. My Colin did that.
Yeah, it was really nice of him, and I'll never forget that he did that. But that was probably like 2016, 17. It was a while ago, but like there are people out there who still think like, no, you keep that to yourself, dude. Like, that's like something to be ashamed of. And it's just not. Like I said, it affects everyone.
Yeah.
I'm not a dumb person. It can affect anyone. So why not talk about it and share your experience so that hopefully you can help someone else who's in a really dark place at the moment and like thinks they're all alone. You know, they're not. You're not alone.
Yeah, for sure. I think stuff like, knowing people that you empathize is the wrong word, but like, because people look up to you, or people feel like they're your friend through yo-yoing together on social media, like, you know what I mean? And
if I can help one person, like, that's all that is worth sharing my story. So I'm not going to sit and hide it. Like, I would never do that. That's pointless. It's better to share it just in case, there's someone who needs to hear like, oh, this guy that I know also had the same problem I'm having. Like, if I can do that for one person, it's worth it. So
yeah. That's cool. And I remember you like going through it and getting better and starting to like yo-yo again sober and realizing like, all right, I don't need these things to enjoy the things I love doing. And I love these things before I was on drugs. I can still love them afterward. And it was cool to see. Like,
yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
Anyway, enough about that. I wanted to get that in. It
was good to cover, though. Yeah,
I think it's important, and that is where I went for a little while.
And it's crazy to like look at. It sounds so cliche. Like, look at all you've created. We're in your house, and we have. But it's awesome because like we know people like your friends that have passed away, and like even yo-yoers that.
I wish they were here to hang out.
Right, and it's like, you've done a lot and accomplished a lot, so it's cool to get over. It's awesome.
Definitely. I'm happy.
Happy.
I'm happy. Oh. What else we got, man?
I'm trying to think. What else? So after this dunk, it's crazy to think too that how many. I'm trying to think the right way to word this because like nowadays in yo-yoing, when people come out with a new product, a lot of the times it's like turn and burn, if that makes sense. Like they come out with it one time and then it's done. You know what I mean? Not many people are like elaborating on that design or like expounding upon a shape. Like that's why Art Jensen and Chuck's brand is so cool because like they really are like they've in the last couple of years expanded a lot more, but for the first 2-3 years they were like doing a lot with like similar profiles, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
just changing the shape or the size slightly, basically.
Yeah, and not many other brands do that. Like every time they try to just drastically change it so much, and it can be good sometimes and it can be bad. So it's like really cool to see the dunk. Like it's almost like a piece of art where like an artist will pick like one theme, like Cause has his characters, or they have a certain style, and then it's like
that's
have
cool. I never thought of it that way.
Change it,
I never thought of it that way. That's really cool.
You have, like, a certain aesthetic, and then
I'm trying to it comes down to just really liking this yo-yo for myself, and first and foremost, I did it for myself as a project. Like I didn't expect it to be successful necessarily, so I wanted to make a yo-yo that I wanted to own and have. So everything I've done since then has just been like, well, what else do I want to play with? Yeah. So I wanted like a slimmer one.
Was it gratifying when people started like really fucking with the first one? Because I feel like it wasn't
one of the coolest feelings.
It was like very quickly popular, but it wasn't like overnight, like 100 sold the first night. It was like, it did really well at first, but then it was like very quickly, it was like, oh, this is great. Like after the first wave went out, it like was very steady.
Yeah. And then I had to order a second run, and
the second run was the same thing as the first run, just different colors. Okay, I forgot about that. CJ or someone mentioned that to me a few weeks ago, and I was like, oh shit, I forgot Jake did 2 runs.
Yeah, I actually did have to do 2. I think it was like 200 each or something. And I don't know. It is the best feeling in the world. It really is, to make something that people want to have and that they get to play with and enjoy.
And it's something that you made because you like it. It's not like you made it to like appeal to public perception or like, oh, I'm it's a popular 100%
like my dream yo-yo. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Like it's my favorite yo-yo. It always will be.
And it's cool coming from the Antio generation and seeing that, like, I don't want to say it has Antio bones, but you can see where it's
it does not everything
like inspired. But like, you come from that cloth.
I rip off the colors completely every single run, but that's just become a thing. No, I do the Babezilla run.
It's like it's not
just because that's what people want, and that's what I want too.
You were on the team, it's different.
It's my way of
I'm sure you heard of. Go ahead. I'm sorry. You go first.
Yeah, it's just my way of not letting that die. Like I call it the Flux, I call it the Babezilla, and I just want it.
You pay homage.
It was important to me, and I think it's cool.
And you were a part of it, so
and they're great colors.
You're not the one that picked those colors for Antio, but the fact that you contributed to it, like I feel like you take.
I think I'm allowed
sort of small ownership. Exactly.
Yeah.
There is a great the guy from Creedence Clearwater Revival. What's his name? John Mellencamp.
Is he from?
Or no, different guy. Okay, whatever his
name. I don't know.
He like wrote like after he quit CCR and started to do his own solo music, like Geffen Records sued him because he wrote a song that sounded too similar to an old CCR song. And they were like, oh, you can't play this song because it sounds too similar to an old song. And he's like, but it's different. Like, you can't sue me for sounding similar to how I wanted to sound. You know what I mean? So it's like, if you were a part of that, I feel like you're allowed to, you can pay homage and like, I don't know. It'd be different if you were making like 1-for-1 ripoffs of the yo-yo and selling them as like Crepezilla. Something real cheesy. Like.
Yeah. No, I just.
But it's cool, yeah, because like we said, you're not doing it with the expectation that people are going to like it, but people like you so much that they would like anything you did. And I'm really stoked to see what happens with these. And it's like,
me too, yeah, because it's
right
different.
Summertime. Summertime's a great time to release a yo-yo. People got money, they want to buy shit.
Yeah, this one's different for sure, but.
And yeah, it's. Like the lineage is carrying well because like, you know, you started out the first one as like a yo-yo for everyone almost, or it was accessible to everyone. And this one is still accessible to everyone too. But like you can appreciate it a little bit more if you're a yo-yo player. And
definitely. It's not a competition yo-yo by any means, but none of them really are. I think the Slam Dunk could be, but yeah, they're just.
And it's not like it's built to be an heirloom yo-yo, but these are really built to last. Like you could take this yo-yo anywhere. You don't have to worry about like dinging it at the bar and messing it up.
The quality is crazy on these. I can't stress it enough. Like,
and it's really not that much more expensive than what you were paying for before. Like an extra $25 to get a virtually indestructible.
It's only $20 more.
Oh, 20. Okay, yeah, 45 to 65. Right?
Yeah,
my bad.
Which I just wish it could still be 45, but it is just. Everything's more expensive
Everything's
now.
going up.
Yeah. So
everything.
And you're getting more than $20 worth of quality.
Yeah.
For sure. Like it's insane.
People so way undercut themselves in the yo-yo market. And I'm not just saying that to be like, things should be cheaper, things should be more expensive. But it's like, in general, people just, they undercharge, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because people start a brand a lot of the time under the guise of like shit is too expensive, so I'm gonna charge less money for it.
Right.
It's like and people are just pulling these numbers out of their ass most of the time. You know what I mean? Like there's a rhyme and a reason. But yeah. But like we were talking about earlier off cam, like everyone's brand is starting to creep up a little bit. Like
for sure.
It's just what it is around the world. Like prices are going up on everything, not just yo-yos. So
it's worth it. I think I don't feel bad about the price, and I'm excited to see what people think. I'm just grateful that there's a market for it.
Yeah, I think there will continue to be. And like the fact that I'm sure you've sold a lot internationally, but like the fact that you've never even wholesaled them to any yo-yo store, like I mean, I
haven't yet. I don't know. I might this time around just to get them into more people's hands, because I think that would be cool. There are people who just don't follow me on. There's tons of people who don't. Most people don't follow me on Instagram, so like that's really the only way you're going to learn about these. So it would be cool to get more people to see it. But I also really, I just, for as much work as it is, I do enjoy doing it all myself and getting to see every person's name who orders. Like it's kind of exciting for me and cool. So
and
it's hard to give that up.
You're not a company, so it's like cool to be able to physically.
And I can like write notes to people whose names I recognize and like things like that. It's fun for me. So but I might give up some of that control this time around and sell some to Yo-Yo Expert or something and see what happens.
Yeah.
I don't know. I haven't decided yet, but.
Because you worked with a nicer shop, the testing process will just be exponentially easier this time around. So that will be funny, just because you won't have to touch nearly as many yo-yos. So it'll be like a little bit more hands-on.
I haven't found any problems yet. They're all beautiful.
It's incredible.
They're so good.
Yo, you pay for it, like I said.
Yeah, it was worth the extra money for sure.
I told you all too. Yo, you pay for it.
Yeah.
Extra $25, you get every dunk has been amazing, but this one is the best dunk so far.
For sure. there's just like objectively it's better than the others.
Which is so crazy to me because normally D-bearing yo-yos are like, they're never bad, but like they're just
gimmicky or
it's like
sometimes
it's just a novelty. It's like, cool, a D-bearing, but this is like you said,
it really works with this design.
Yeah, it really.
CJ knocked it out of the park. I can't thank CJ enough. He's just like the amount of, he designed all of them, and it's just insane. Like, we haven't had to prototype more than once for any of them. Like, he just gets it the first time. It was his first bimetal, the slam dunk, that he ever designed. And we got one prototype and it was perfect. It was the one we released. Like, he's got a knack for it and he knows what he's doing with yo-yo design. So
that's interesting with the ring placement too. That's like
an easy we thought it would be like, we were so scared, dude, and it just came and it was fine.
That's
it was
so awesome.
It was insane. So I don't know if we're getting lucky or what, but I don't think so. I don't think it's luck. I think
and it's also awesome that you've done it over the pandemic. Like,
yeah, I think that helped a lot, honestly, with the first release.
Yeah, for sure.
People were bored and it was scary because I was ordering things from China during the pandemic.
Yeah, and the world is in economic turmoil and like you're putting out a $50 yo-yo. Like, come spend money with me. Like,
it worked out though.
Yeah, like we were talking about earlier, yo-yos are kind of not guaranteed recession proof, but like oftentimes it's just one of those things that
everyone wants to have fun no matter what.
Yeah, they avoid going out and spending money, so they stay home and spend money and they pick up new hobbies, and yo-yo ends up being one of those things.
Yeah.
Do you have any, I know like we've talked about other materials for Dunk, but like do you have any other crazy plans for it or like on the horizon, or just, I know you probably have like pipe dream stuff.
I want to do a titanium one, obviously, just because I want a titanium one to have.
Yeah.
Like, I have Kai's titanium yo-yo. That's the only titanium yo-yo I own.
It's a good one.
But it's just so fun to play with.
It's an amazing titanium yo-yo.
And I just like titanium yo-yos. Like, they feel really cool. And I know that the Dunk...
It would be a great titanium yo-yo.
The design would translate really well.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely going to do that. And I would like to do some sort of like plastic Delrin, or like that one you have, that hybrid.
The hybrid one, yeah.
Some sort of hybrid that would be really
polycarb or Delrin. You could make one of each and it would be equally as good through both. It would feel different through both of them, you know what I mean? Like
something plastic for sure.
The Delrin yo-yo has like a weird, deeper feel. The sound feels different. Like it feels different on the string. A polycarb yo-yo feels like
I think I'd like polycarb more. But maybe polycarb with Delrin. Oh, if I could do polycarb body with the Delrin ring so it looks like the white ring, like the white Delrin, that would be pretty sick.
You could probably do a version with a cap too if you wanted to. Like,
cap is a dream as well. I love capped yo-yos.
And this is like your first design that you've done all of these from, you know what I mean? This is the type of shit I was talking about earlier, that yo-yoers, there was a great documentary about Steve Rocco, the guy who started World Industries, and they talk about how like when World Industries was first starting, just the turnover of artwork for skateboard decks made them like designer tampons, because like they would spend $1,200, $1,300 on one piece of art, put it on one run of skateboards, like 2,000 or 3,000 skateboards, and then never use the artwork again. And it's like, what the hell? And people do very similar things with yo-yo design now, I feel like, where they just spit out 100 designs and hopefully one of them hits, and then whatever ones don't hit, they just never make again. And it's like, instead you like really, and again, I
believe in the design. That's all it comes down to. Like, I'm going to stick with something that works.
And you've had 15 years, like you were joking about, to put in this thought and time and effort. Like a lot of other people, they get a pro model after 2-3 years of yo-yoing, and then they're like, all right, cool, make it like this one and this one and this one. And then it's a random yo-yo that's inspired by the yo-yos that they like the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah, versus 15 years of influence and expert knowledge that you've put into this.
Yeah. I hope this will hold up. I think it will. I don't know. It's hard to say. Yo-yos.
It already has. Like,
come and go. But yeah, I mean, the first one's already almost 3 years old, and I think
bet
it holds
it's probably one of the best selling yo-yos of the last few years, without a doubt. Like, if you the Dunk series, you know,
it might be. Yeah.
Like, I know. I mean, if you can look at how many yo-yos Andre orders when they go up for sale on Yo-Yo Expert. Like everyone knows this. You go into the quantities of the stock and like look through them, and it's like everyone kind of knows that he's one of the biggest stores other than like Yo Tricks or Yo-Yo Sam. So he's gonna order some of the most yo-yos, and like they're all gonna, those 3 stores are gonna order similar amounts. So if an account has those 3 stores, they're all ordering similar amounts. And like, so knowing all that, like the Dunk is without a doubt like one of the best selling yo-yos of the last few years. So like, and you've done it on your own, you know what I mean? You didn't do it with another store, you didn't do it with another big name yo-yo, or like you've had cosigns, but it's never been like oh, so this guy on the team killed it with the Dunk. It's like,
no team. I don't want to do a team. I don't want to do any of that. Just if you like it, you can use it. But it's not a competition yo-yo, so there's no point of having a team. Like it's a for fun yo-yo, and I do appreciate anyone who uses it. And I've had great cosign. Like the first Dunk, Kieran posted a fucking clip with it, and the sales just went insane. Like. So I appreciate it. It was wild. Like I sold like 20 immediately when Kieran posted a clip just of a trick. So stuff like that I appreciate immensely. And it's really cool that since I'm not a company, people who are on other companies can use it without feeling guilty.
That's a great point too. I never thought about that. But yeah, you're just a person, so they're not.
You're just playing with your friends yo-yo. You're not co-signing another company. Yeah. So in many ways, it has worked out very perfectly, and I've gotten very lucky. And in other ways, I've put in a lot of work and had a lot of great help and great friends like you and CJ who helped me get it done completely. Without you, I couldn't have figured out how to do it. But
trust me,
like, I know. But
if you were a kid on my team, that would be like a dream.
Yeah,
you know.
Meryl, you're so sleepy. You want to say something? Say something.
But yeah, it is like when you sponsor people and you give people pro models, and like I don't want to say this like in a conceited way because it sounds crazy, but like you give someone that opportunity, it's like you're spending a lot of money and time and effort, because like you could be making a yo-yo that doesn't have their name on it, that you don't have to pay them from, and you don't have to ask them their opinion on, and it would just be from A to B to money, like not like A to then that person again to see the color, and then like back and forth so many times. So it's like the fact that you called all those shots on your own and have done everything, like it's cool, like because very few people have that concise and direct of a vision. Like most people, and every run, like you were breaking down earlier with the Antio colors, and with like the Slim Dunk, for example, you did like the cool color series, and like every run you have, like you really run it like a brand, but like not like a brand. Like it's all artist edition, you know what I mean? Because you're an artist and you're just doing it independently and not.
I try to make the colors have rhyme and reason a little bit. I try to make the details matter, because I appreciate details in everything in life. So I like an explanation of like why, you know, why are you making a blue one? And it can be any reason, but it's still more interesting when there's at least like a little bit of thought behind it
or substance.
Like, rather than the yo-yos coming out, here are the colors, enjoy. That doesn't get me excited. And I love buying yo-yos as much as anyone else. So like, that's why I appreciate like Freshly Dirty and you and like Turnbuckle and things that put some effort into explaining the colorways and explaining the reasoning and just having some detail behind it. It's all it takes for me to get interested. And a lot of people skip over that, I feel like, but teach their own. It's all different, you know.
Yeah, it's yo-yo is it's almost like too easy to make something, but it's also because it's not really like people don't put enough effort into that, like you said. Like
I feel like they don't, and I feel like it's not that hard. I mean, I don't know, but it's just how the world is, you know what I mean? Yeah. Like some people have a different vision or whatever, and they don't think that's necessary, and that's fine. But
yeah, TikTok yo-yoing is like it hits both sides of that, because like a lot of people are elaborating and explaining like the difference between unresponsive and responsive yo-yoing in their TikToks, and they're doing things to educate the general audience.
That's pretty cool. Yeah. I like that.
But like the turnover and retention and ratio of people who watch these, the people who buy the product, is like incredibly low. Like it's a hard turnover, because like if all these people were selling millions of yo-yos to the millions of followers they had, like it'd be a very different industry, you know? So it's, you know, the content kind of breeds the consumer as well, where, you know, it's the content is starting to get better, but like in general, short form content isn't geared toward the yo-yo, like the general yo-yo consumer. Like we were talking about earlier, it's like an introverted, like deeply thought, like people who aren't trying to watch a 10-second reel, like people who are willing to learn a yo-yo trick and fail at it 30, 40, 50 times, learn it for an hour, like drive 2.5 hours to go meet a bunch of other random nerds they never met before. Like not yo-yo to Kate Bush on TikTok.
Yeah.
But it's, yeah, there's room for everything, and it'll be interesting to see where it goes.
For sure.
Can you think of anything else you want to add? I'm trying to think. We jumped like right to Dunk from, because you covered getting back into yo-yo through Yumu at Worlds, and you covered everything. When you brought up your yo-yo,
I covered my little story.
Yeah,
we had some good times, man. It was a great time to come up in yo-yoing.
It was
like probably one of the golden eras, really, because the technology was like still catching up to, we were still ahead of the technology then.
Right.
Like we were pushing the technology. Now the technology has surpassed everyone.
Yeah.
So it's kind of neat to be there for that.
What a random time. I'm sure you play with those old yo-yos a lot, and I do too, but they're horrible.
They're so bad.
They're great to play with because it's like fun to remember, but when I think back, even
that's
now,
all he had. It's insane.
I have one of those Paul Escolar freehands from Nationals, the Eagle transitional ones that I just got in the mail the other day, and I was like, oh, this is great, but like it's so responsive, and like I remember just getting those and being able to like fucking rip them.
You know what I learned? Those are 7 grams lighter than the regular freehands.
What?
Yes. This was David Ung figured this out. They're 7 grams lighter than all the other new freehands. So like that type of plastic or something is just that much lighter.
Huh.
You can weigh it. It's like 60 grams. The others are 67.
I'll have to weigh mine, because I honestly...
Check. Maybe they're all different, but he weighed his, and it was 7
I'd be willing to bet they're all different, but still,
maybe.
Like, it
it's
probably
still
is
insane,
a huge
dude.
variance, yeah.
For plastic, 7 grams is a lot.
Because all those different colors of plastic you're seeing is literal chunks of plastic. So.
Yeah. Anyway, something interesting about this.
Yeah, that is really interesting. Because like when you see the Yo-Yo Factory marble plastics, like it's very well mixed into the mold.
Right.
You know what I mean? Versus those transitional Duncan ones.
I gotta get one of those. I almost bought one, but
hit up Brian. He'll probably have some extra ones he can get to you.
I think they're still on Yo-Yo Expert. Maybe they're sold out by now. They're sweet though. It's one of the best things that's happened is those freehands.
Yeah, like Brian's really turned Duncan around the last few years, but like he knocked that one out of the park.
Insane, yeah.
And it's really to see people now. Like I didn't think it would be as popular as it is. Like I thought the first couple runs would sell out.
Now people are collecting them.
Yeah, people are collecting them just because they see how much freehands are worth now, and they think like they're going to be worth that, but they also know that they play well. They're like, man, these are fun, and like it's a cool, fun yo-yo. Like. And you can play with it responsive. You can continue to lube the small bearing
right now.
Huh?
I'm gonna buy one right now.
Go ahead, buy it. But like they're fun. Like you can keep it responsive, and you can throw it until it becomes unresponsive. Like it's just a dope all around yo-yo, and it's awesome.
They're really good.
I'm interested to see if they're still in stock or not. I think there was like 20.
Let's see. I hope so.
I'm surprised there's that many of those grubs left in stock. Check Yo-Yo Sam. No. Fuck. Oh my god. Check Yo-Yo Sam.
I was just waiting and waiting like an idiot. God damn it. Those are going to be those American ones.
I wonder how many they made. I'm like I said, I'm just so surprised that every edition sells as well as it does. Like, also, like, you can tell people pay very close attention to what the stock numbers are because every time, whatever the least amount that's stocked always sells first.
Right.
Like the first drop of them, they dropped like the plain, like the yellow, blue, and red, which is plain white. The
yellow sold out.
Yeah, yellow sold out super quick. Yeah.
That one was really cool. I got a red one. The Bionic I don't like because
it's not cap a real Bionic, not white. But yeah.
It's just gray.
Yeah, I'm surprised they couldn't just do like a regular straight up Bionic.
Ooh, damn, 75 Steve Browns.
I know.
What happened?
What do you mean?
Why are there so many in stock? That's one of my favorite.
How many of the 5A star are in stock?
82.
Yeah. Yeah,
that one is sick, dude.
Yeah, that was one of the first modern yo-yos I bought.
Wow, I love sick. That logo, man. The glasses.
It's super dope. I don't know why it's not as popular as it should be.
It's probably just because it's black and red.
Yeah, and it's like kind of, I don't know, but that shit is popular now. You know,
I know that like
cool
emo,
old emo style. Yeah. So like, why isn't?
It is funny they redid the Steve Brown.
Yeah, and also Steve is like still alive, so like not to say anything about Paul, but just like posthumous yo-yos always like do really well.
Even the unknown editions in stock, that's surprising.
I think they, for some reason, I want to say Yo-Yo Expert got like 150 unknowns or something.
Wow, then they sold very well.
Yeah,
green and yellow is sold out. Of course,
gorgeous, and it's so similar to the original green and yellow too. If you hit up Brian, I'm sure he has like a little backstock of everything. That's
Yo-Yo Sam's got the American. I think I might buy one.
Merc.
Just to keep in the package and hang
be
on
good.
Yeah.
I want to weigh mine now that
I know.
I wonder what the variant.
They like play different apparently.
Is there anything else you want to cover before we wrap it up? We could do a whole nother episode just on story. We should, yeah, because you really were like meat and potatoes this episode, which I love, and I love that you were so organized.
Let's do another one with more stories because this is fun.
And we'll get Curdy or someone to come up.
We'll get a third person
like, talking about
or John Rob, dude. Yeah. Maybe we'll get John Rob.
Bring all of it down to Tennessee with us. Yeah.
Yeah. No.
I got 6 channels in this.
Dude. We gotta do another one. We're doing another one
for sure.
This was just boring talking about my career. It wasn't boring,
dude. People are gonna love this.
I hope it's interesting.
No, it's gonna be amazing. Like this, like I said, it was very meat and potatoes, and like you've had like a very illustrious yo-yo career that you needed to cover. You know what I mean? It's not just like I had
a good time. And remember the code I told you all earlier. Everyone's gonna look at the end of the video for the code, but I'm not saying it again. But if you want to get the slam,
we're not even give a time.
The dunk rebound early, you gotta watch the whole episode, and you'll get the code. You can get one early for a discount. But
when are you trying to drop it next week? The yo-yos?
I don't know, Friday or something.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I have no idea.
I'll put it out for real on Monday.
Yeah, I hope we can put this out Monday, and then Friday or Saturday I'll drop the yo-yos and. Hopefully it goes well, but I'm excited. I thank you for this opportunity. Yeah, we should film something, man.
Yeah,
we got lots to do.
Could have come earlier today. My bad.
No, it's too hot, dude. It's too hot.
Yeah, that too.
It's gonna be too hot for a long time, I think.
To film anything.
I saw that thing you shared. Is August gonna be hot? It's like yes. It's gonna be too
squelching.
Squelching. All right, man.
Well, dude, thank you so much.
Really, thank you, dude.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Seriously.
I had a good time. I love talking to you.
I'm glad that I'm getting some like serious subject matter and like talking points because I feel like people like the yo-yo shit, but they want to hear like real life stuff too, and not just like, we had fun and the yo-yos are great and it was great and peace everyone. It's like, they want to hear real shit. So
yeah, and my DMs are open. Anyone can reach out if you ever want to talk about non-yo-yo related stuff you're struggling. Yeah. Like honestly, I mean, I'm not a therapist, but I can speak from my experience and try to just talk to you.
Being available helps.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that anytime. So, and my DMs are open in general. I'd like to talk to yo-yoers. So It's fun.
But not women. I'm single.
No,
My
yeah.
penis is in a cage. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
All right. Peace, everyone.